pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, what's up? And good morning and happy Thursday. Awaiting the storm, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck in DC. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. How you living?
Living good, and being a Pro Bowler is one of the things that has changed so much in the last 10 years.
Okay.
I
think that's right.
There's guys that we say, yes, this is a Pro Bowl quarterback. Like, no way. Yep, that person played in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, well, played in the Pro Bowl because...
And now it's not even playing in the Pro Bowl. It's
going to the Pro Bowl games?
Pro Bowl games.
Yeah, they're Pro Bowl games. The rosters for the NFC and AFC were announced, at least the initial rosters for the AFC and the NFC. I always wondered on this because everybody gets a bonus, right? So if you're selected to the Pro Bowl, you get your bonus, and then if you don't play, do you still get it? And then the next guy who gets selected to replace you also gets his bonus? Is that how that's always worked?
Yeah, you're Pro Bowler.
Everybody gets a bonus. All right. We'll go through them and what it means. Do you even know what the Pro Bowl games are? I think there's flag football, throwing ball through a hoop or something, some obstacle course. Do you have any idea? Do you watch it?
Bits and pieces. It's kind of like the NBA Skills Challenge night.
Okay.
It's pretty fun, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't think I watched the second and didn't feel like I missed anything last year.
See, here's the problem. You have a guy like Russell Wilson goes out there and looks like he has every throw, period. But he's doing it in shorts and a T-shirt.
Well, it's like the Underwear Olympics in Indianapolis in April, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's great. All right, so here's your NFC quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. You all right?
Not even 2 minutes in, and it was shot at Russell Wilson.
Yeah. It's all right. Can we get a little stinger for you taking your pokes at Russ Wilson? I mean, it's okay.
I mean,
No,
I can't help myself, apparently.
And nor should you, by the way. No, that's what you've got a mic for. Feel free to take your pokes at Russell Wilson. I mean, let's ride.
I got plenty.
Come on, DC, let's ride. Bronco Country, let's ride. Bronco Country, let's ride. Bronco Country, let's ride.
Oh, that's the one.
Bronco Country, let's ride.
My buddy in Indianapolis, every time he calls me, hey, what's up? Let's ride. Every time. For 2 years now.
I think that's beautiful. I don't think it should ever stop.
It probably won't.
I don't think it ever should.
He's probably listening, and I think you just cemented that.
Hey, for what it's worth, Russell Wilson did not make the Pro Bowl games. For whatever it's worth to you. Now, at least as of now. I mean, Lord knows when Lamar may be playing in the Super Bowl and can't play in the Pro Bowl, or Patrick Mahomes has a Allstate commercial, or is it State Farm? State Farm commercial to cut with Travis Kelauto or Maato, which, by the way, is really funny. Really funny. And Tua Tagovailoa. So those are the starters, the stars, guys. Yeah. So your starter is Tua. How does that work? Tua's your starter, and Lamar, who's going to be your MVP, is your backup, and Patrick Mahomes the backup. You okay with the AFC choices? Tua Tagovailoa, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes, no Josh Allen.
I don't even know how the Pro Bowl is selected.
I have no idea either, dude. Is it voted on? I mean, who would you...
Player votes.
How's Joe Flacco not in?
Fan votes.
How about no Joe Flacco? I don't know how it's selected. I don't know. All I know, it's supposed to be a big deal, and I'm supposed to really, really care about it, and I'm struggling. But okay, those are three guys. I don't even know who else. Josh Allen's the only other name that should have even been in consideration for quarterback, right?
Yeah, when it comes to the
AFC
quarterbacks, absolutely. This is one where it's almost like this is what you care about, the initial selections. not the guys that aren't playing,
when
not
Joe
quarterback
Flacco replaces
7,
Tua.
8.
Yeah.
Like this would actually be
Yeah.
the list to look at and talk about and break down.
That's right. That's right.
So I do have a quick answer. Player selections are determined by the consensus votes of fans, players, and coaches. Each group gets a third.
All right. So that's the formula. Did you know that you could vote on this?
Yes.
Did you vote on it?
No.
That's right.
Let's ride.
Can we do a segment, just a Let's Ride segment? Can you do a stinger with Russell Wilson? Just every time you rip him, just go Bronco Country, Let's Ride, or even just Let's Ride.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
that's
I will
what
put something together.
okay.
That'll be fun.
All right, please. All right, Raheem Mostert, James Cook, Derrick Henry are your running backs in the AFC. Anybody they're missing? Anybody should be on there? Joe Mixon was fine this year. He wasn't great. I mean, okay. This is basically who played. I mean, honestly, who made it through relatively unscathed. Receivers, I mean, Amari Cooper should be there. Tyreek Hill should be there. Keenan Allen and Jamar Chase. Travis Kelce and David Njoku are your tight ends. And then, you know, we can get into the line if you want. And you're going to go, okay, well, whatever. Quarterback, NFC, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. Your starter is Brock Purdy. You okay with this?
The one, it's gonna be the debate forever. Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's absolutely fair. And I might have gone Jared Goff.
I'm about to do that one over 4,000 yards passing as of right now.
Who is?
4,200 yards for Jared Goff.
Yeah, I think I'd have leaned Goff.
Third leading passer in the NFL. Not a Pro Bowl quarterback.
I mean,
That
he will
is
be
disrespect.
when one of these guys can't get in because they're in the Super Bowl. He will be no Jalen Hurts, right? Who else? Anybody else?
Okay with
that
no
should-
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, hey, let me throw another AFC name at you that isn't in there that really could be. C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud, the rookie.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you
fair.
he should be instead of those guys, but that's the other name that next to Josh Allen. That if you want to say there might be a snub, C.J. Stroud could be in there. But in the NFC, is there anybody else that we're really having a conversation about outside? Because Goff should be instead of Stafford. He should be.
To
Anybody
me,
else?
It just seems like there's a ton of recency bias in this. I kind of wonder if the voting took place like a week or two ago.
Because the Rams had a better finish.
Yeah.
I mean, Lions just got hosed by the refs. Should have beat the Cowboys.
Well, all the interceptions over the last few weeks.
He's had a few. Yeah, they're still the number 3 seed, I think, overall. Rams crawled in at 6.
Well, I'm talking Pro Bowl though.
Yeah, I understand. I like myself some Matthew.
Well,
Stafford.
it opens. Like they started talking about Pro Bowl voting weeks ago.
Yeah, they did.
So
Running back's interesting, man. Christian McCaffrey, obviously. DeAndre Swift. You wouldn't have said that at the beginning of the year, would you? And you didn't know who the hell Kyron Williams was at the beginning of the year, did you? I mean, that's a nice running back room, and good for Kyron Williams. What a year he had. Receivers.
and it's all the dudes that went over 1,000
Well,
yards.
it's dudes who stayed relatively healthy. I mean, Williams missed 4 weeks?
He played 12 games
Yeah, he missed 4.
so far,
And
and he still got over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
It's impressive. He's the second leading rusher in the NFL in 12 games.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. How many touchdowns?
He's got 12 of those. things. 12 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and he's got a bunch receiving as well. No, he's been terrific. Receivers, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, and Mike Evans and Puka Nacua. We missing anybody there? Wide receivers, NFC? Puka Nacua in over who? I mean,
No, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown would be the only other name. Brandon Ayuk.
so you got a
in there.
sneaky good.
But
you got a
the
really
thing
bad
that's
team.
different is all those dudes are the 100+ reception guys.
Well.
They gotta be.
I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? That's what we're rewarding.
Mhm.
This is the gaudy numbers bowl, right? That's what.
Absolutely.
This isn't the Hall of Fame. This is this year's Pro Bowl. This is reward for this year's season.
Right.
I don't have a huge problem with it. Let me throw one. What are Adam Thielen's numbers? Feels like he's always making a catch on a really bad team.
Adam Thielen finished 101 catches,
Okay, see,
1,000 yards.
is it ridiculous to say put him in the mix for alternate on a really bad team?
No, I think That's pretty fair. I mean, rookie quarterback. He
They won 2 games, but every time they needed something, it seemed like that's the guy they went to.
feels like he'd be a fill-in if someone goes to the Super Bowl or doesn't play. Pulls
The
out.
other guy's DJ Moore. Or DJ
The
Moore.
problem is Adam Thielen also has a game this season where he had 2 yards receiving, another game where he had 12.
No, I get that. Look, I mean, I'm not telling you he should be on in front of any of these guys. DJ Moore? What are his numbers?
92 catches, 1,300 yards.
Pretty good, right?
Nice.
He had that
Strong
one
season.
stupid Thursday night game, right? We went for like 4 touchdowns or whatever it was. All right. Your tight ends, George Kittle, Sam Laporta, the rookie for the Lions, and Kyle Juszczyk made as a fullback because there's like 2 fullbacks in the league still, right? And he's pretty good at it. Defense, Nick Bosa, Montez Sweat, Aiden Hutchinson, Aaron Donald, all the names that you would expect on defense. Cowboys, Deron Bland certainly is there. Micah Parsons certainly is there. So Brandon Aubrey's the kicker. How about the rookie kicker, by the way? I know kickers aren't really a story, but this guy was playing in the USL, dude. That's like where United plays. And he hasn't missed a field goal.
That's amazing. I did a little more research. The voting is interesting. The fan voting takes place between the 11th of December and 25th. The coaches and players vote on the 29th of December.
Kind of weird the windows would be different. Because it's different perspectives, isn't it?
Very different, yeah, between a fan and a coach. Yeah.
So fans, coaches, and what's the other third?
Players
Oh, okay. Fans, coaches, and players. When do the players vote?
on the 29th.
And the coaches do too?
Yep.
All right. I'm fine with it. I mean,
But
it's just because I
explains
just
a lot
don't
of the
care that
reasons
much
why
about
it's-
it. Yeah. All right. So Pro Bowls are out. We're there for you. Here's what we're doing today. Lots to do. We'll do a lot of college football coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Tony Sanchez is going to be with us. He's the new head football coach at New Mexico State. He's an alum of New Mexico State, former player. He is a former head coach, both at the high school level, Bishop Gorman, and at UNLV in the Mountain West Conference, and was wide receivers coach this last 2 years under Jerry Kill. And when Jerry Kill announced that he would be leaving the program, they immediately turned to Tony Sanchez as the new head coach. He was introduced yesterday, and Tony will be with us coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Looking forward to talking to him about how do you continue to win? How do you continue to build on the culture? This culture was never there for all these years. It was there over the last 2. I think a big piece of it's going to be that he was part of it, right? He might not have been the head of the snake, but I know Tony was a key part of this. I know Tony was a guy that Jerry Kill leaned on quite a bit. And so looking forward to talking to Tony about that and how you keep that going. 8:30 this morning, CBS Sports' Jerry Palm will be with us. We'll talk with Jerry about the college football playoff. Feels like the committee got it right, huh? Even though he and I felt Florida State should have got in on merit, they got it right because we got 2 good games heading into a championship game on Monday between Michigan and Washington. And we'll touch a little bit on college basketball with Jerry as well. So that'll be coming up at 8:30 this morning. Your phone calls are welcome and encouraged at 505-246-0610. That is the Sports Animal phone line. It is also the Sports Animal text line where you can send us a note at 505-246-0610. Emails come in this morning as they do every morning. Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com. JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. And on the Twitter _JJ Bucker, that's now called X. And we're on Facebook. We're on the OD and the AM. That's our Facebook page. Adrian's producing. Visually, you can watch the show on ProView Networks, Comcast Channel 26 as well. All right, so when we come back, a little bit more NFL stuff. And is history lingering for Lions fans? Is this the time? And I know there's a bunch of you out there. Lion fans, okay, so now you got to the playoffs. Are you tired of hearing about how bad it's been? Because I know many of you are. And how they changed that. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, and DC. Let's ride. On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football, and the Super Bowl without Russell Wilson.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep,
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mirror here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Ladies go at 2:00 in the afternoon, right?
That is correct.
Boise State, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
JJ will have the call right here on These Sports Animals. Crack the microphone with the pregame show at 1:30, and then live from Albertsons Market Radio Row at the famous pit. 2:00 tip-off. Men go at 8:00. They will host Wyoming. Lobos 0-1 coming off the Mountain West Conference opening loss, 0-1 in conference play at Colorado State. Wyoming hit a buzzer beater. Trailed most of the night, but beat San Jose State up in Laradice. So they are 1-0. Last night in conference play, San Diego State was a winner. They rolled over Fresno State. JJ, I don't know how much of that you watched last night, but and again, I don't know if they're hitting stride, but San Diego State was dominant last night, 74-47. They beat the stuffing out of Fresno State.
The Aztecs are really good. Fresno State's not. And those are the teams that you have to handle in Mountain West play if you want to be a contender.
Right, and kind of handle them like that at home, right?
Yes.
And Wyoming's probably one of those teams, aren't they?
Yeah, this is a game for New Mexico that I think you feel very good if you win by double digits. Then we're going to say you should blow a conference opponent out. But this is a game which should win in the control down the stretch.
All right, so that'll be on Saturday out at the pit, 8:00, and we'll talk a little bit basketball as we get there. All right, so going into the last week of the NFL regular season, and there's a lot of things that are settled, and there's a lot of things that are not. One of the things that's settled is the Lions are going to be in the playoffs. And the Lions are the only NFL franchise, this is crazy to me, that has never won a game in the wild card round of the playoffs, and they will be in that. Detroit last won a playoff game back in 1991. That's 24, 34, and 9 is 41 years ago. Is that right? That can't be right. How many years ago is 1991? What's 24 and 9? 31 years ago. That was when they earned a first-round bye. They won the division round. Prior to that, their last postseason win in the NFL playoffs. DC, you have an idea? Do you already look at this? Do you know when it was? Before Detroit won a playoff game in 1991 in the divisional round. Okay, that was their last time they won, so that's 31 years ago. 34 years ago. 33 years ago, however many years ago. 33. Do you know when their last win was before that in the playoffs?
I don't offhand. I think I read it was some like early 1950s.
1957 NFL championship game, before wild cards existed, before Super Bowls existed. The Lions are 0-9 in the wild card round. They first lost in 1982, most recently in 2016. I get it, man. This is a different team, and this is a different year. And Dan Campbell didn't want to hear about it, but for crying out loud, they are going to be choked with this until they get through. And
that is an unbelievable streak.
Yeah.
For any franchise, this is lovable loser territory. Oh, woe is us. And what we've seen out of the Detroit Lions over the last few years, if you're a Lions fan, you feel like this has to be it. At least a playoff victory, maybe even putting together a couple of these things right now with what the franchise has done. And most people did not expect them to be here. It was one of those day one press conferences. It's happened recently. You think of Dan Campbell, Nick Sirianni, where you come back the next day and you're like, whew, that was different. And then it's like, this guy wants to eat our kneecaps? Like, what's happening here? Like, what's going on? And it worked. They went in with Jared Goff. What they did to end last season changed his franchise. Because last year was supposed to be just out, kind of whatever, get by year. We'll figure it out soon enough with the next franchise quarterback. And they were really good the second half of the season. And they brought in a ton of momentum into this year, backed it up, which is a great step one. Living up to the hype, the expectations, new pressure that's never been there for that franchise. And now you're going in with a quarterback that's done it. A team around him that is built to be successful. Jared Goff, from starting with the run game, 2 quality running backs, a legit wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
The big
stud tight end.
And the biggest thing for the Lions is going to be their defense. And I think what you saw against Dallas, even with CeeDee Lamb going off and having over 200 yards, kept him out of the end zone, 1 possession game late. That's the pottage. That's going to be the biggest question mark for that team, is making the big defensive plays in the playoffs.
It's just stunning stuff when you read it. And so here's where we stand. And Lion fan, I don't know where you are. Are you ecstatic that your team's really good? Are you still pissed off that you got, I mean, I feel, most people do, hosed in the Dallas game, where you would, because where this is going to play is in the division round, where you would host Dallas instead of have to go to Dallas. I mean, it was a big call, or non-call, or mess up. But as it stands now, wild card round, and this has got to concern you. If you're a Lion fan, right now the Rams are coming in with Matthew Stafford. Right now it's the Rams. Now, JJ, if the Rams lose to San Francisco and Green Bay wins, do you know who wins a tiebreaker between Green Bay and the Rams? Because I'm looking for that one and I don't see that. Because if that's the case, then it would be the Rams going to Dallas and Green Bay going to Detroit. But as it is right now, the Rams are going to Detroit. I mean, if you're a Lion fan, you gotta be just going, no way. Here comes that guy, and that guy's going to do us. And if you're Jared Goff, you're like, yeah, bring it. Right? I want that. Aren't you? If you're Jared Goff, bring me that team who told me I wasn't good enough. All I did was take them to the Super Bowl. That is, if there is anything more intriguing in the first round of the playoffs, tell me what it is. Than Rams at Lions. Because here's what you have right now. You would have Packers at Cowboys in the NFC, Rams at Lions, and Eagles at Buccaneers. And your AFC, the way it lines up right now, and this is all I really believe going to change. But right now, Buffalo's your 6. They're not going to be your 6. They're either going to be your 2 or they could be your 6. I think Buffalo moves up to hell. You can get Miami at Buffalo next week in the first round. Indianapolis. We don't know. I think the only thing we know right now is the 4-5 Cleveland's going to Jacksonville, right? I think that's the only one we kind of really know in the AFC. You got something more compelling than Matt Stafford going to Detroit?
We don't know much about the AFC,
Yeah, we don't.
as you just laid it out. That is the biggest storyline if it plays out. Matthew Stafford and the Rams going into Detroit when all the hype, all the buzz, everything we just talked about, breaking so many streaks, finally winning a division, setting yourself up, and in strolls the quarterback that could never get it done, was good. People realizing it was more of a franchise thing than a Matthew Stafford thing because of what he did immediately when he stepped in to the Rams locker room. And now that you've turned the franchise around in Detroit, you're competent, front office, coaching staff, players, and that dude is coming in.
I mean, I look at it and I'm like, if I'm a Lion fan, I'm excited, I'm confident, but boy, there's a piece in my gut that's just going, really? That dude's coming back here? Has Matthew Stafford played there since he's been around? Have they had to play at Detroit? I don't know that. I can't remember. I mean, it feels like it would be a big deal, right? And I can't remember it. I mean, that homecoming, and they loved him. That fan base loved him. That was one of those where it was when they traded him was like, you know what, we love you, but go win. You know, it's like when you send your kid off and to go be great. Go, I love you and I don't want you to leave, but go be great. Go do great things. Go to college and go start your, right? I mean, that's kind of where that fan base was with Stafford. They were in love with him, and they realized that they had a really good quarterback and a really bad franchise. And so it was like, yay, we're rooting for you. And he won a Super Bowl, and Lion fans rooted for him. And right, but now
they played Detroit week 7
there
of the first.
Okay, yeah, I just don't remember it.
In LA.
Oh, in LA.
Yeah.
Okay, so he hadn't been back to Ford Field. Yeah, I'm just telling you, man. Like, as a Ram fan, I'm kind of, I feel weird about it too, because there's the Jared Goff thing too, right? I mean, tell me that game doesn't mean a little extra to him. With everything that they got riding on the franchise and all the fan base and everything to just stop choking me with this 1991 and 1957 reference. Stop. I got to get us over the hump. And here comes that team that gave up on me. I think I want a little piece of them too. Until Aaron Donald's in my face.
You lay out a very strong case. Because initially I was thinking anyone the Bills play is probably the most interesting to me, especially if it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, I get that.
But the comeback aspect to it does add a lot.
Well, I mean, those two quarterbacks were traded for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Jared Goff was the number 1 overall pick, and he took him to the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford, I believe, was the number 1 overall pick too, wasn't he? Out of Georgia. And he was there and put up gaudy numbers for so long, and he was so good, and he was just languishing in this horrible place with this horrible franchise. I mean, I know I'm overplaying the horrible place thing, right? But I'm not overplaying the horrible franchise. I mean, I'm doing that for effect somewhat, but it was like, you know, and he was a likable dude, good dude. The fan base loved him, and it was like, go flourish. We love you, and we know it can't happen here. We don't want to. I mean, if they got to give us this.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford was the number 1 overall pick in 2009.
Out of Georgia.
Yeah, he
2 number 1s.
He put up big numbers. He had Megatron, but still, they didn't win the playoffs. They
never won.
Yeah,
they never won. Megatron quit early. I mean, a great career, as good a receiver as we've seen the last 2 decades, and he said, "Yeah, I'm done." I mean, that's a franchise that made Barry Sanders and Megatron both peace out early.
We're good.
Because,
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I want to take these hits. And in the back of your mind as a Lions fan, because of everything you've been through, you're just sitting there and it's already played out in your mind. Like Matthew Stafford's walking in there, finding Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and beating us in the 4th quarter.
Matthew Stafford's going to get the ball with 1:46 to go, down by 6, and jam it up our backside. I mean, you already. I mean, right?
That's the way fans are wired.
Yes, that's exactly what they're thinking.
And even if they're up by 28 in the 4th quarter, they're not going to feel good about it.
You're not going to feel good till the final buzz.
100%. 100%. All right, 5. I mean, if there's Lion fans, and I know Lion fans there, I tell me where I'm wrong on this, because you see it coming, and I mean, you've got to be sick of all of the all of the historical perspective stuff. But the only way to get rid of it is just get rid of it, right? I mean, it's the only way to stop it. is just to make it go away. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. And then there's Daddy Flacco. And then there's him. How did this happen? Is this one of the craziest things we've seen? And if he goes on a run, and he could, what does that mean for Joe Flacco when it's all said and done? Never mind the Browns. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night football.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute.
All right, I got this from, where did it come from? I think it came from Edward, but, and it's not wrong. So are the Rams that team? The Bills are the team in the AFC where people are, oh, nobody wants to play the Bills, right? Are the Rams that team? Because I don't know that I feel that they are. I feel that the Rams have been just teetering on giving games away. I really think they're struggling in the fourth quarter and they're going to get caught. But his point is, and it's not a bad one, last 7 games, Rams are 6-1. Do you remember their only loss?
Ravens.
Overtime punt return. So their only loss was in overtime to the Ravens, who we all believe is the best team in the NFL. They drilled the Browns 36-19. They swept the Seahawks. He says, I hope they play the Cowboys in the wild card. And they could.
No.
Why?
Because Matthew Stafford versus Detroit.
Yeah,
Come on.
because it takes away the story. No. Rams are 6-1 in their last 7. Their only loss was that punt return overtime game in Baltimore. And Baltimore beat the tar out of everybody, dude. Out of Miami, out of San Francisco, didn't they play Dallas? They didn't play Dallas. But they beat the tar out of everybody. It's interesting. Omar says, Jeff, there's no way if the Lions and Cowboys meet, that he says the NFL's most outstanding organization can host the game at Texas Stadium after what the refs did, right? No way. The game's got to be moved to a neutral court. No, that'll be right there. That's how big that call was. That's how big it was.
They're playing at Texas Stadium again?
Yeah, they're going to Texas Stadium. That's what they're going to move it. That's the neutral court.
Okay.
They're going to move it out. Texas Stadium still exists?
No.
Did they raised it?
Yeah.
How come raised, which means, I know it's R-A-Z-E-D, but R-A-I-S-E-D would mean to build something up, but we use the word raised to tear something down. I don't know. So it's always been one of those mind blocks for me. Dan says on Joe Flacco, Jeffrey, Juan Jose, and David Cook. All right. With all the injuries, I actually think it's more important to have 2 to 3 good $5 million quarterbacks than a great $50 million one. It's from Dan. It's interesting. You're better off having 2 Joe Flaccos, or in this case 4 or 3, than 1 Deshaun Watson.
No, because it's the unknown of the other guys. thinking just because you're paying them X amount of money, they're going to be any good. It's hard to find 32 good ones to be starters, and let alone thinking you're going to have QB 2 and 3 that are going to be ready to
Let's
go.
be very real. I'm going to read you the playoff. Okay, and we can talk about the 50-something, 60-something quarterbacks who started games in the NFL this year. Okay, we can do that all we want. Okay, San Francisco, Brock Purdy started all but one game, right? Dak Prescott started every game. Jared Goff started every game. Baker Mayfield started every game. Jalen Hurts started every game. Matthew Stafford, I think, started all but one. I think he missed one. Jordan Love is in that position right now. Jordan Love started every game. AFC, Lamar Jackson started every game. Tua Tagovailoa started every game. Patrick Mahomes started every game. I believe Trevor Lawrence started every game.
No, he didn't play last weekend.
He didn't play last weekend. Okay, missed one. The Bills were the exception with 4 quarterbacks. Buffalo, Josh Allen started every game. Indianapolis is in right now. So you got the teams hovering. It's right. The teams hovering for that last spot. Indianapolis, Houston's quarterback missed 2 games, right? Pittsburgh had a bunch of quarterbacks. So you have 1, maybe 2 teams who played multiple quarterbacks extensively this season. I would argue that that's not the formula. Cleveland's done it, and that's why it's so insane, and that's why Kevin Stefanski is probably going to win Coach of the Year, right? But to say that should be your formula, go out and get, go get a Mitchell Trubisky and a Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett and play quarterback roulette, I don't think that's the formula. Now, you need a good backup.
I mean, that is kind of what San Francisco's doing, though.
Fair enough. No, that's fair enough. Until they have to pay Brock Purdy. That's right. But the point is more, they lucked into that. I mean, can we when they drafted him last of the draft, you think they ever thought he was going to be their franchise quarterback? No way. No, they lucked into that. But my point is, you got to have a quarterback, not a couple of quarterbacks. And I think it's proven the way this season played out. Yeah, is there the anomaly? Is Cleveland crazy and they pull the guy off the couch? I mean, the Flacco story is insane.
It kind of sounds to me, kind of to equate this to baseball. Back in the day, you had your starter who threw for 7 or 8 innings, and you had a closer. You had 2 guys, basically. Now we have this short relief situation, and it feels like that's what he's suggesting this morphs into is, we'll have 3 quarterbacks, and we'll switch them around, and we'll make it work. It's interesting.
Well, but where does it work? Look, nobody's done it by design, right? Maybe Pittsburgh has, but it wasn't by design. And Cleveland did this out of desperation. Cleveland has a $250 million guaranteed guy that we keep forgetting every year and say, well, maybe next year we'll figure out what he's about. And the dude just collects money. They had a rookie. Well, they had P.J. Walker they went to first, and they had a rookie who they went to next. They realized, damn, we're really good except for at that position. I mean, where's that old guy sitting on the couch? Is he in shape? The Jets. What if the Jets would have called Joe Flacco first? By the way, Joe Flacco was a Jet last year.
Last 3 years.
What if they would have called him first? Would they be a playoff team?
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Why?
Bad franchise. Like this is
the Cleveland freaking Browns. What's a worse franchise than that?
I've watched Cleveland.
Yeah.
Won a playoff game with Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Kevin Stefanski put together a competent team. Robert Saleh has won 17 games, and they think everything's going to be perfect once Aaron Rodgers steps back.
I know they do.
Joe Flacco was there last year.
Yep.
And they were a quarterback away. So why would it have worked this year?
So it's such a fair argument. It really is. Were they better this year? Were they not better this year? And so is that more of a testament of they're not nearly as damn close as they and everybody else thought? That they weren't just a quarterback away? And if not, why? That defense is really good. Breece Hall is really good. Garrett Wilson is really, really good. They got receivers. Their offensive line is suspect. But if that guy's the difference, that guy couldn't make that roster. And that was the quarterback away. And then you threw him and you just said bad franchise. I mean, Cleveland Browns are the poster child of bad franchise, aren't they? Over the last, give me how many decades? Why would it work there and not in New York?
Cleveland's in a lot more winning recently than the Jets.
Recently, I'll give you that, over the last few years. Yeah. I mean, like 3 years, right? What do you think?
It's interesting because my mind's turning right now. I'm trying to think of the last time the Jets were the better franchise.
Than the Browns?
Yeah.
Well, when Mark Sanchez was there, fumbling his way to the AFC Championship game.
So that was...
How many years ago was the cheesy...
Decade ago.
Was that cheesy sweet potatoes? Yeah. The cheesy sweet potatoes are really good, by the way. So that was only a decade ago? So that makes my vote even more solid for Kevin Stefanski. No, honestly. If you're telling me that the Jets... Who did we think was a better team going in? We had them about the same place, right? The Browns and the Jets when we sat here in August?
Yeah, most people were on the hype train. It's Aaron Rodgers, the whole quarterback away. And they're going to do it. It goes down 4 snaps in, that changes the season. But to me, I don't think Joe Flacco would have been this guy.
Because it's more functional in Cleveland than it is in New York right now.
Yes.
Because Aaron Rodgers is hanging around, because Robert Saleh's the guy, because it's just a bad place. Like what? I
know that's the easy thing to say.
Yeah.
Oh, they call Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was there last year.
He was. No, that's
Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are a year older, but
they were still there. The defense.
Sauce Gardner was still there.
Yeah. Was he playing at the end of the year last year? Joe Flacco wasn't he?
At the end, actually, I think they sat him. Let me see.
They go to like Mike White or something. I don't know. Joe Flacco was asked if he can see the way his age and his experience has had an effect on the locker room in Cleveland. I thought his answer was great. He said, "Yeah, if I messed up in high school, I could be some of these kids' dads." All right, then. Yeah, I guess,
Thanks, Dad.
18 is 36. Yeah, 20 and 18. Yeah, you're 38. I got it. Yeah. All right, Pops.
It's so funny because remember in the preseason when we were talking about Stafford not connecting with the younger players?
Yeah, because of what his wife said?
Yeah, it's interesting how this guy's older than Stafford and not having those issues.
It's interesting. He is older, and I don't think Matthew Stafford's having those issues for that matter.
Not now.
I mean, did you... Ever since
you sure as heck figured out who rookie Puka Nacua was.
Yeah, it was talking points for a minute, right? But I don't know that Matthew Stafford's having any of those issues. You got 2 veteran quarterbacks, right? You look at the quarterbacks who are going to be in the playoffs in the NFC, and you're young. I consider Dak young in his prime right now. I still consider Jared Goff young. Baker's still young. Jalen Hurts is young. Jordan Love's young. Brock Purdy's young. You got 1 veteran there. I still consider, Tua and Lamar young. Mahomes is young. Trevor Lawrence is young. Flacco's the old guy because you got 2 veteran quarterbacks. Now, 2, Stafford and Joe Flacco. And the Flacco story is just insane. It's just insane. All right, 505-246-0610. I got to hit this break. If you're there, want to hit you when we get back. 505-246-0610 is the Sports Animal phone line. Tony Sanchez is going to be with us, the new Mexico State football coach, coming up at 8 o'clock, and then Jerry Palm from CBS Sports at 8:30. Looking forward to getting Jerry's thoughts on who will win the college football championship and how Tony is going to continue the winning ways at New Mexico State. If you're there, stay there. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal. Your home for Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football, and the Super Bowl. Let's ride.
This report is...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet.
Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
No Thursday night game tonight because that's how the schedule is. You get 2 on Saturday and then a Sunday slate. It's the final week of the regular season of the National Football League. If you're listening to the NFL, you're most likely listening to it right here on The Sports Animal, your home for the NFL and the Super Bowl. Thanks for spending some time with us on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. Let's go. Tony, thanks for holding. You are on The Sports Animal. Good day, sir.
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Good. How you living?
Good. This is you know what? The whole Joe Flacco thing is a great topic. Awesome. Because I myself have my own opinions on this, and but there is that little bit of what? Like, how come Joe Flacco didn't work in Denver? Why didn't Joe Flacco work in Denver?
Joe Flacco hadn't worked for the last 8 years. He hadn't worked for the last 8 years anywhere, dude. Like, he won a Super Bowl in 2012. He was really good. It was an amazing run. He won the Super Bowl MVP, and he got paid, right? He was the highest paid quarterback, highest paid player in football. Got paid 2012. That was 12 years ago. What has he done in the last 8 years?
True. He's bounced around, but okay. I agree with you completely, Jeff. When you say Cleveland statistically is like the worst franchise, it is. To me, it is. JJ disagreed. Okay, so if the Jets are a better franchise, why didn't Joe Flacco work with the Jets? Why is he working in Cleveland? It goes back to me like the whole what? Like why is Denver that bad of a franchise? You know, how come it hasn't worked with him? Why didn't it work with Case Keenum? You know, it's stuff like that. And yes, I'm a Bronco fan, and of course, you know, y'all as a fan, you always want what's best for your team. But like, when's Denver going to strike gold again?
When they draft,
I mean, look, yeah. Well, when they drafted guard or tackle is fair. Look, I look at it this year for you guys who are Bronco fans, and JJ, you know, I go down the list. If you don't pick in the top 3, if you can find a Bo Nix or Michael Penix, even late first round in the second round, I mean that almost feels like an answer to me. I know you probably more trepidatious than I am on that, but do you guys feel that would be an improvement?
Yes.
I've seen that Bo Nix a little bit. And actually in some of the mock drafts, they have him going to Denver because I think Denver picks at like 14, 15, 16, right around there. And they actually have Bo Nix going to Denver. But Denver's got on paper, and again, I know game's not played on paper, but look at the wide receivers, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry That's a great foursome of wide receivers. That's not great, a very, very good foursome of wide receivers. You know, once the tight end comes back, he's pretty athletic. He was having real, he was that extra weapon there. Dulcich, Javonte Williams running the ball very strong. Our offensive line is, I think, like one of two offensive lines that have been played together 95% of the time. So on paper, everything should work, except the most important position on the field, quarterback.
Yeah, and it feels that way. But your question, why didn't it work in Denver? Why didn't it work in New York with this guy is crazy to me. Because
what's Cleveland doing so differently that Denver didn't do, and that the Jets didn't do?
They have an offensive line.
If Denver's a better franchise and the Jets are a better franchise than Cleveland, why is it working in Cleveland and why didn't it work in Denver and with the Jets? But guys, have a great day.
Yeah, see you. It's a fair question, but I'd argue, what's he done the last decade? 8 years, right? I mean, he's bounced around. He's made money. Nobody's disliked the guy. He's gone in, won a few games here and there. But you guys had him, right?
Yeah.
What do you think when you had him?
I wish we had an offensive line to protect him.
But it feels that way with.
The Browns' offensive line has not been 100% healthy the entire season. That's part of the NFL. If it was that simple, these guys would be popping. The Joe Flacco's thing is unexplainable. It's not just an offensive line, because you're looking at a guy that was 2-6 in Denver. Then the games he played, he spent 3 years with the Jets. 2020 0-4, 21 0-1, 22 1-3. And then steps on the field towards the back half of an NFL season at 38 years old and looks phenomenal. This isn't just a get-by guy. We're talking 300-yard games, multiple touchdown passes. It is unexplainable.
It really is. Because I can't. I mean, I watched him with the Jets last year, too. He was done. Text line says, I bet a sizable chunk of cash that a big reason Flacco is not in New York is because Aaron Rodgers has and his fragile feelings. Maybe. Or maybe they said, I did that last year and it wasn't that good.
They did it for 3 years.
And it just wasn't that good. He also says Bo Nix and Penix go to 12. Unless the team gets really lucky and picks someone no one's aware of, there'll be no franchise quarterbacks outside the top 12. But he's basically saying 5 quarterbacks in the top 12 picks. You think 5 are going in the top 12?
Probably not.
Do you think Bo Nix is a good NFL quarterback?
I am fascinated with Bo Nix.
I am too.
And Michael Penix, the guys that were up there on the Heisman stage.
Older.
Guys that can make all the throws.
Yep. 23, 24-year-old guys.
Yep.
Right? That you feel like can go in. Like, if Michael Penix wins on Monday and wins on that stage, I get it, the scouting process is way deeper, way more intense than just how did a guy do in the college football playoff in those 2 games. They're going to go dissect every piece of tape that they can find, and I get that. But there's also something about winning on that stage. I mean, look, Joe Burrow went from a guy that nobody knew about when a season started to win a national championship, was the number 1 overall pick. Joe Burrow was just transferred from Ohio State to LSU, and he's their new quarterback. And then he won that Trevor Lawrence game against Joe Burrow, which was one of the most electric atmospheres I've ever been in personally. Like that one was crazy. I'm not telling you he jumps to number 1, but can he jump into the top 10, top 15?
Well, he's already a top 5 quarterback.
Okay.
And the quarterback's needs are pushed higher, as we're just discussing.
Everybody else has needs, man. Like you need an edge rusher, you need a left tackle, you need a cornerback, right?
And that, to me, where I absolutely could see Denver going mid-round or even trading up a few spots, because you're looking at Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., the 3 after Caleb Williams and Drake May at the top of the draft. Because this is like just Sean Payton's feels like that's his next thing.
Well, I firmly believe Nix or Penix are going to be one of those guys who's going to be their quarterback next year. I just got to, I firmly believe that.
And I think Sean Payton probably wants to prove to people that, give me one of those things and I'll mold it. Give me one of those quarterbacks and I'll go with it. because he's done a lot of work with established dudes. He didn't make Drew Brees great. Drew Brees was pretty darn good.
Yeah. I'm looking for the draft order right now because I really want to know. Seattle intrigues me as well. Michael Penix staying home and going to Seattle. As I say, staying home. He's not from Seattle, but he's playing up there now. I think they're about ready to go find a franchise quarterback too. I look around this thing and I say, who's going to draft a quarterback? I see so many teams on the board from New England to Tennessee. Well, I don't know Tennessee, for Denver to the Raiders, maybe the Cardinals, to Seattle, to Atlanta, to Minnesota, to maybe Chicago, to Washington, to maybe the Giants. And man, to your point, are they good enough? Should these guys be top 10 picks? Because that quarterback that position is so important because it's such a big deal. I mean, when I read that initially, I thought 5 quarterbacks in the top 12, that's not happening. But maybe it is.
Well, we've seen multiple drafts. To go back to the Lamar Jackson draft when he goes at the end of the first round, but then you had Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen go really high. It's all the place.
Yeah. All right. When we come back, we're talking college football. Tony Sanchez was introduced yesterday formally as the new head football coach at New Mexico State. He knows the place well. He played there. It's his alma mater. He's had a lot of success coaching. Now he's going to try to continue the success at New Mexico State. How does he do that? What's the plan? Looking forward to a conversation, I know you are as well, with New Mexico State's football coach, Tony Sanchez, and that is next on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football, and the Super Bowl.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Cross-Camara here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Show that shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Spent a little bit of time with him when they were in town for the Isleta New Mexico Bowl yesterday. Formally introduced, and good to welcome him to the show, the head football coach at New Mexico State. Tony Sanchez joins us. Good morning, Tony. How you living?
I'm doing good, doing really good. Just had a good night last night. Had our introduction press conference. Had recruits in. Just getting everything off and running. So it's been a busy week, but a good one.
Well, congratulations on this. I know this is a place that you love. How did this come about? Was it when Jerry stepped down? Did you have an inkling of what was going on? How did it go with Mario? Because obviously the turnaround with the announcement of Jerry leaving and you becoming the replacement or the new head coach happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, we had some idea. I had talked to Coach Kill about it, and I knew it was going through his mind, and it had been going through his mind for a little bit. And he was just weighing a lot of things. I mean, he's had such an incredible run, great career. What we've done these last 2 years is just, a testament to just who he is and, his DNA. And he was just kind of, going through the whole process about, him, his health, his energy, longevity, just a lot of different things, and obviously the landscape of college football has just been flipped on its side in the last, 12 months, with, NIL, transfer portal and all those things. I think a lot of coaches are, contemplating a bunch of stuff right now. And, he felt it was time to, spend some time with the family, step away. And, I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but had an idea that it might happen. And then, yeah, you're correct. I mean, the turnaround was really, really fast.
Well, for you, look, you talk about the change, and I've called it seismic, the change in college football's landscape over the last 12 to 24 months. It's a different game than when you were head coach just a few years ago at UNLV. When you went to UNLV, you were head coach in high school, and I know you're ready, and you had some successes at UNLV, and you did some good things there. But now having done this under Coach Kill, in this situation, in this place, how are you a different head coach this time than when you took the job at UNLV a few years back?
Well, I think it's one of those deals where all of us, we all get better as we go on. You learn more. You just got,
you've got more experiences, dealing with things, on and off the field, program management, roster management. But I'll tell you the biggest thing is that, it's kind of funny. People are asking me about, like, the changes. And I remember walking in, in 2015, you walk into a locker room and, you've got 100 guys sitting in front of you, and those are the guys you're going to coach for the next 2 or 3 years. It took us 4 years to get to 85 full scholarships because of the old rules. And, if you had kids who didn't want to buy in right away or do things, or just, didn't want to take care of their, the things you need to do to be great, there wasn't really a mechanism to create change there, right? And you were limited, too, with those 25 scholarships based on attrition and guys coming in and out. And if you had guys leave, you couldn't replace them right away. Well, in the last 2 years, we've signed 74 players. We've completely flipped the roster. So, in one aspect, it was a true 5-year, 6-year, time frame to turn a program around, where nowadays we have a mechanism, and it works both ways for players and coaches, where you can come on in and make immediate change, in a program. You can bring 40 guys into a roster. You're seeing it all over the country right now. And the flip side, too, you can lose some really good guys. So there's mechanisms now to create a winning team, a lot faster. And that's really what we benefited from the last 2 years. So, the way you go about, changing your roster up, putting more talent on it and building your team, it can happen a whole lot faster than it could back in 2015.
He's New Mexico State football coach Tony Sanchez. He's with us on the Sports Animal.
Well, Coach, you just mentioned it, how New Mexico State has benefited from the last 2 years with the transfer portal and the player turnover. But how do you develop as a player these days? And I think that's a really big challenge, because I know people say, well, this is just sports, right? It's free agency. Well, when we're talking about professional sports, we're talking about guys that went through college, that have developed their game at a professional level. And we're still talking about kids, 1-2 years out of high school. How are these players developing these days?
Well, that's going to be the big key for these players, as they think about their decisions. Obviously we want to go out and, have a fair share of high school kids. You're going to bring in some transfers, some JUCO guys, and they're all developing at different levels. And what you're starting to see is, you look at the stats last year, right, in 2023, and when you're sitting there and you're talking about, 74% of the kids that transferred up played less snaps, and 38% never started another game. Pretty scary when you're a good young player. You're at a place like New Mexico State or New Mexico, or and all of a sudden you look at NIL, someone's going to give you a couple more bucks, you move on up. That could completely stunt your development and growth. Think of all these players that you come in, you redshirt, you're a special teams guy your freshman year, you play your sophomore year, you start to get on the field and you start, and then all of a sudden you bounce somewhere else and you might just be a backup. But no one's going to tell you that when they're recruiting you.
That's right.
So that's really going to stunt a lot of growth from a lot of great players, a lot of great potential. On the flip side, you'll see guys that are in big programs, and they are solid twos, solid backups, and they want a chance to get on the field. And when guys leave, you're looking at those guys. So it definitely will, inhibit some of these kids, development. Some of these young men that, want to play on Sundays, want to be developed. And, there's a lot of kids out there that have really, benefited from being out of place from 4 and 5 years and, going through that whole process of, of development. And, you're starting to see that get cut a lot shorter nowadays.
Tony Sanchez with us, new head coach, New Mexico State. And you've played at New Mexico State. You've been in that city. What were the last 2 years like of what this football team was able to do? And just seeing, the excitement and the different reaction to Aggie football, just the unbelievable run that you guys were able to put together.
Well, it's crazy because, I think that, people were, hoping that we would gradually build this thing up. And, even when you go back to our first year, I remember going into that first spring ball, and I think we went 2 or 3 days without completing the pass. It was like, oh, my goodness, we've got a ways to go here. We were able to, again, through recruiting, go ahead and, raise the level of athleticism around here. But even starting off the season, we had a tough first game loss. And, we started off that season, really rough, losing a bunch of games early on in the year and just kind of hit our stride at the end. And then we come back for year 2 and same thing, you come out of the gate and year 2 and 3, and then we went on that 8-game run. So I think it's one of those things where, last year, as we got towards the middle end of the year, the New Mexico game was huge to kind of get the crowd fired up and going. And the town started to realize, like, wow, okay, we're competing at a high level, coaches got these guys, playing hard, and that's kind of what it was year 1. And then year 2, we had high expectations and kind of stumbled coming out of the gate. And, as we started to hit stride and win those games and, started consecutively, just playing well at the end of football games and pulling out games, and you saw the crowd get bigger and more raucous. You saw the town get more fired up, and it was just really fun to be a part of. again, I played here in 94, 95. I've followed it ever since. I started my coaching career here, so I've been intimately involved in paying attention to what's going on here. There's been some really lean years, really lean years. Doug Martin had a great year a couple years ago, and we got him to a bowl game, and then it went right back down. And, Tony Samuels, when he was here, he had a couple good years. There just wasn't enough bowl games back then, but he would have been below a couple of times. And it just always seemed like we kind of started moving up and then kind of went back down, move up and then right back down. But to have 2 years in a row going to bowl game, a possibility of going to 3 in a row for the first time in school history, I think people are fired up. And obviously whenever there's change, there's a little bit of nervous energy, but that's my job to stabilize this program. We're keeping a lot of our core coaches here, core players here, and I know we'll go out and have success, and you get everybody fired up.
Yeah, Tony, talk about that, because sustainability is something that I think the Aggie fans that I've talked to are concerned about. We just had one pop their head in right before you came on the air, and how do they continue to do it? He's an Aggie, and I know you're answering it. Jerry was such a high-profile coach and done something there that hadn't been done in 63 years. It starts in the portal, but it's got to start with the community as well. Have you said convincing people, getting people, there's a nervous energy around it. You've had success, but there's change. What's the priority? Is it portal? Is it supporters? Is it keeping guys? Is it getting guys? Where are you right now in regards to, obviously, the portal thing? Diego's a big part of the conversation for a lot of people. What's the priority?
Well, the priority obviously is roster management. We want to make sure we go ahead and, keep the majority of our good players here. I think we've done a pretty good job of that. Obviously, we've had some kids go in the portal, and and what you'll see here in the coming weeks is we're getting some pretty good players out of it too. So it's one of those deals where sometimes you're just trading horses, guys. I think the grass is greener, and but you got other guys too that are coming on in that'll come on in and just replace those guys. So again, there's mechanisms now to go ahead and deal with the portal. It works both ways. And as far as, getting people excited and getting people, to buy in and all that, we just got to do what we did 2 years ago. It was the same energy when we came in a couple of years ago. People were optimistic, but skeptical too. And what we did? We just went to work. You go to work, you work on fundamentals, you take care of all the little things. You develop these guys, you create team chemistry, you execute at a high level, and you go out and you win football games. And if you do that, people jump on board. That's the bottom line. I mean, that's the one thing you learn, the longer you're in this game is, proof's in the pudding. You got to go out and win football games. You win football games, people get fired up. So we just got to make sure we take care of, our jobs here. And if we take care of our jobs and we do them well, we'll continue to win football games, and people will jump right on.
Winning heals a lot. Tony Sanchez is the head football coach at New Mexico. Stay with us for a few more minutes. What's your philosophy on the portal? If some coaches say, hey, if you go in, you can't come back. Do you give them a period, especially with a transition? What's your philosophy on a young man who goes into the portal?
I mean, you know me, Jeff. I'm kind of a fireball too. So this first year with Coach Keel, the timing of it, when it happened, I want to say we give him a pass, but we were mature about the way we handled it. We didn't want to go ahead and just say, hey, you're out of here if you're out. We've already had guys come back. Yesterday we had 2 guys come back. So we're getting more and more guys they're paying attention to what's going on here, and they're going to want to come back. After this portal closes, if you go in the portal, we will not take you back. I mean, so this is the last time. From here on, if you want to dip your toes, and then you're going to be out. And I think that the more coaches I talk to from around the country, and I've talked to a bunch, you're going to have to kind of take that approach, because it's going to be hard to sit there and know exactly what you need. And you just got to understand that, it's not a personal deal. There's opportunities for kids to go out, and we've had kids that have left here. They didn't leave here because they wanted to leave here. Had some great conversations with them, but they left here because they got offered, to go up to a different, a higher level, Power 5, and make the kind of money those kids are making, right? So I mean, if they can do that, hey, more power to them. I understand it. Not going to have any animosity towards it, but then we're going to move on right away.
And lastly, and I know you a little bit, and I'm stoked for you as a friend. I'm stoked for you. But how special is it to be the head coach at your alma mater? And it's not like it's never happened before, but we've talked over the years. When you were at UNLV, you've asked me, hey, what's going on down there, right? And you've kept tabs. I know that place is special. Your alma mater is always special to you. Now you're the head coach at your alma mater.
Yeah, it's hard to even put into words. I mean, I've always been real appreciative of this place. I played at Laney Junior College in Oakland, California, and Jim Hess was head coach here. It gave me a chance to, come here and play Division I football, and had a great couple-year run here. I got a bachelor's from here, a master's degree. Football's been really good to me. My journey's been absolutely amazing, but it all started because the opportunity New Mexico State provided for me. So I've always been appreciative, always loved this place, and now to come here and, and sit in the chair and, and work with a great group of young men and, great coaches, just real appreciative of the opportunity. I'm going to bust my tail for it.
I know you are. I'm stoked for you, my friend. I really am. I know you got a new beanie for your bald head. I wear it all the time. JJ, I made sure you got one of those beanies right before the bowl game. Probably not the right time to put it in your hand, but that's when I was able to get it to you.
I'm glad you did, though. I got that bald head, so I need the beanies.
I'm well aware. Hey, go to work. I know we'll be in touch. Congratulations. I'm stoked for you. Best of luck to you. Thanks for spending some time with us.
All right, appreciate you. Go Aggies.
All right, be well. He is Tony Sanchez, and he's the head football coach at New Mexico State. A lot there. And look, I tell you this all the time. You make a coaching change, and when you make a coaching change because you're having success, I think natural thing is to look internally and find somebody to continue it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think they got a good opportunity to make it happen here. Aggie fan, what do you think? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night football.
This report.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I do. And he was part of the success. Players seem to love him. He recruits well. X and O, his brother's head high school coach down there, so he's going to have great relationships with the high schools, certainly in that area. And JJ, I don't know that I said he had I said he had some success as head coach.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's all right. We know where that conversation is going from someone that is obviously not willing to have a fair conversation. The expectations for New Mexico State are to compete in Conference USA, try to win a conference title, get to a bowl game. I don't care what the strength schedule is, because I'm not talking about them at this point in time going to the CFP. And guess what? It doesn't matter. If you get there, who cares how you get there? Liberty got blued out. Do you think they're like, oh man, only our strength of schedule? No, they got that opportunity.
Yep. And they did.
Went to that game.
Yep.
Got blued out the bill. But keep
really
coming with the same thing every other day. Strength of schedule, strength of schedule, strength of schedule.
I mean, you tell me, would you rather
win
be
freaking football games?
You want to be 4-8 or you want to be 10-5? Like, and I've told you this a million times. I don't recall them turning down being in your league. And well, it is.
No one remembers that. Just that one person's gonna remember that forever.
That's right.
The strength. What was the Lobos' strength schedule when they won bowl games? Oh no, they won. That's what mattered.
505-246-0610. A couple things in there that Tony said. I think that he said it's similar to 2 years ago when we got here, right? People were, whatever the word is, JJ, cautious, nervous, cautiously optimistic. He says we just went to work and won, and he's right. And now there's a little higher expectation, so there might be a little less of a runway. Does that make sense?
Hmm?
Do you like the philosophy of going internally? The way Mario did it, late in the coaching cycle, to find a coach who had a head coaching experience, who was an alum, that had been on the staff, to keep the continuity, or would you rather have gone outside? Like, I don't know who I think would be better. I think Tony was the right choice here.
Yeah, I think they were a little challenged timing-wise of when it happened.
Okay.
And one of the things that Mario Mocha mentioned was, I want to do it because of the portal. Those kids are jumping regardless. Whether you hired Tony Sanchez that day or did a coaching search for a week and a half, they're always going to be jumping in the portal.
Well, I think that's one of the really interesting things about the portal. And there's a lot of talk now about having the portal open once a year. And that would be, after the spring semester. Now, I don't know that anybody's going to go for that. I don't know that it's even something that's possible, right? It would help out, obviously, with bowls. It would, postseason. And then, after.
I think they should just move it to the end of the season.
The football season.
The end of the football season.
So meaning the way it is now or after, in January?
It. So after, so open it Tuesday.
Yeah, but the problem is school starts next week.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Deal with it. You already are bending so much for these kids in athletics and bowl season and when the finals are, yada, yada, yada. Like if a kid enrolls in school a little bit late, give them a few extra classes over the summer.
Yeah, somebody made the point. I'm trying to remember where it was yesterday, that like Nelly Jr. Joseph wasn't in school, like in classes the first 2 to 3 weeks or whatever it was. So something could be done.
But you're worried about his spring semester when you're not even starting your football career to the following fall at your new school?
Yeah.
Like
I think there's so much conversation right now and so much topic that Nick Carparelli, the executive director of bowl season, made some comments to Yahoo's Ross Dellinger, and we'll get Nick on here in the next week or two to talk about kind of what he sees out of bowl season after the college football playoff championship next week in Houston. But do you think that behooves the players? I mean, obviously it cuts down on when they can transfer, right? But it almost feels like there's continuity in school, right? And I don't know, it seems like then there'll be a little bit of control on it.
Yeah, to me, I think some of these kids are going to regret not getting to play in a bowl game. And there's so many people out there that scream about meaningless bowl games. Mm-hmm. And why would a kid put themselves on the line? Well, why are they even playing into the season?
What are they playing?
Why are they playing at all at this point in time?
Why are you playing against FAU on Wednesday night?
Yeah, there's hollow arguments at the end that people love to still make about the bowl system. It's an opportunity to play and compete. You ain't playing at the next level. Newsflash, most of y'all ain't playing at the next level.
2% of you.
And so you're missing out on opportunities to play in meaningful games just for you as an athlete, you as a person. But so many people get caught up on NIL and you're not getting the same money out of it. No, most of these dudes who are on NIL deal, I'd be disappointed if I'm that collective and they're not playing in the bowl game. So I want to see these players finishing the season. And I think for them, playing to win football should matter. You're still getting the benefit of your transfer portal. You're still getting the benefit of whatever NIL deal you might have. Finish the season.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point. And there's been a lot of conversation on the collectives who are paying these young men to play. Does that mean the whole season? Should it mean the bowl season? Should it, should it mean bowls? Should you be pulling money back? What does it mean? Because I think the bowl game still means stuff to certainly the people who play. If you watch the emotion of every one of those trophy ceremonies, every one of them,
it's just competitor. You're playing to win, and it's easy to on the outside to say it's meaningless bowl games and yada yada yada. College athletes are just trying to prove this and that, but you're missing out on an opportunity to finish the season. And there's still an element of even when you're making financial decisions of being a competitor and winning. And there's a lot of these guys that you might be laughing, yeah, they didn't play in the Pop-Tart Bowl or Cheez-It Bowl or whatever snack bowl it may be, but then they're just jumping ship and there'll be a backup. And who knows when the next time you're going to get in the field.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point, and there's going to be a lot of conversation about it. There already is a lot of conversation about it in going forward. What do you think of Tony's response in regards to transfer portal? He says, you know me, I'm a little firecracker, a bit of a firecracker anyway. But I think most coaches now, there's some leeway when I first get here. If you're in, I understand there was some uncertainty, but from here on out, you go into the portal, it's business. You go in the portal, you're not. I think most coaches are that way now, right?
Yeah. This one, if you're Tony, you cannot be upset if any of these guys jumped in the transfer portal after the Jerry Kill news. Now, it wasn't all of them, but you had more that after Jerry Kill stepped down, went into the portal. Of course, you want to give those guys an opportunity to come back to the program. And the reality of it, too, it's individual situation.
Well, that's right.
It's because if you realize that, man, that's my best defender. And I know I've said outwardly that once you're in the portal, you're done.
Yep.
But if there's any, well, maybe I don't want to leave, really not going to welcome your best player back.
Yep. All right, Jerry Palm next, CBSSports.com, CBS Sports, Jerry Palm. The college football playoff is set, and we're going to talk with Jerry when we come back. Who wins? Did the committee get it right? Well, feels like obviously they did. Looking forward to having a conversation with one of CBS Sports' best. Next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football, and the Super Bowl. Let's ride.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust.
There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Was I got two good games that I watched. I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, they were two good games. And by the way, it's more than just Florida State. Although Florida State's the one that definitely needed to be in. But this particular season, there were 8 teams that were good enough to win this tournament if it was big enough to include all of them. That's just the kind of season we had. But Florida State was the one that actually earned a shot, didn't get it.
All right. What about what we saw?
It was fabulous.
Which games, because I asked JJ the other day, which game we remember the most, the overtime game or the Washington-Michigan game? And for me, it was Washington-Michigan because, or I'm sorry, Washington-Texas, because I felt that Washington dominated them. And then the story was just written, the guy goes down with an ankle injury, stops the clock, gives him time, penalty on the punt. Like, this was going to be one of the most epic collapses I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh!
And they held on,
and they made a play because that's what they've done all year.
Yeah,
I mean, not the screw up part to put them in a bad spot. Well, the injury isn't a screw up. I mean, it's just bad luck. But it cost them 25 seconds.
Yeah,
so that was a big injury in terms of trying to, because now all of a sudden Texas has a shot. They've got enough time to do something, as opposed to getting the ball wherever they get it with 10 seconds to go. So, I mean, that was huge. But then you've got the dumb penalty, and then they just move right down the field, but they can't get the final shot because Washington wins games like this all the time. That's what their 10th win by 10 points or less
in a row.
I mean, that's their MO. That's what they do. They're 10-0 in games like that. I mean, it's just It was remarkable. They made a couple of really good defensive plays. They had 4 shots at the end zone. 2 were good defensive plays, and 2 they just didn't, make a. The Texas was as much as at fault on the other 2, but I'm thinking this just can't happen.
That's what I was thinking, and it was late for
game
you.
1, and a guy gets hurt, and it might. And it not by itself cost him the game, but could cost him the game that a guy got hurt. And it cost him 35 seconds. Yeah. Just, oh, my gosh.
He's Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, is with us on the Sports Animal.
Well, in the other semifinal, Michigan, the defense showed that they were legit for what they did in that game, but it still came down to OT. What do you think when you saw what happened on 4th and goal with Jalen Miller on Alabama's offense?
That game was 2 really good teams that looked like they hadn't played in a month, because there was a fair amount of slop on both sides.
First pass of the game.
Especially early, was sloppy. And it's like Alabama couldn't snap the ball the whole game. What they have, 7 or 8 snaps that were problematic. And, with these offenses, you have a bad snap, you take half a second to recover a bad snap, or a full second, and the timing of the play is off. And now you're improvising because the snap's not good. I mean, it's an underrated thing because you don't usually see that many bad snaps in a game. But, the Alabama's inability to have clean snaps, I think, hurt them at times, and it may have hurt them on that final play as well because it kind of looked like they had something set up to go left. I don't know, maybe it was a run the whole way, but regardless, the snap's on the ground, and it throws the play off. And it's just, you can't just have that in those situations all the time. But you have to give Michigan credit because, they get the punt. They need a touchdown. They've got a long way to go, and they go for it on 4th down. They don't really have a choice. They get the 4th down, and then all of a sudden, bam, 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 they're in the end zone. And, so their offense came through when they really needed to come through. Their defense played well enough to win, but Alabama's defense is really good too. But then Michigan's offense on that drive stepped up and made big play after big play, and that was enough to get them through. There was a really good, compelling game with a little bit more slop in it than I thought the Washington-Texas game had.
Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, is with us on the Sports Animal.
Jerry, have you thought the Michigan players have looked throughout this, have responded throughout all of this, the Jim Harbaugh stuff early in the season to the scandal late in the season, multiple coaches leading the way, just the players going through this and what they've done?
Yeah, they've maintained their focus really well. And it tells me that, not only do they have good assistants who are able to help manage that, but they have, good leadership among the group of players. The seniors on that team, the captains on that team, leaders in the various position groups, helping to keep the focus on the task at hand, regardless of what's going on in the coaching staff. And they deserve a lot of credit for that. That was not an easy thing to do for these young men, but they stayed focused. They played well. The defense was fabulous all season long. The offense probably didn't get enough credit, but they were also very efficient. They've been a really good team all season, and a lot of people didn't believe in them because of the schedule they played, which I think is fair. Their non-conference schedule wasn't very good. Their conference schedule, you can't do much about, but there were really only 2 good teams on it, and they handled everything, and so people were waiting to see what could they do in a game like this. And they won it, and they're going to get another shot.
Yeah, it's going to change next year. I'm still wrapping my head around Washington, Michigan next year is a league game. The Pac-12.
It is a league game. They're playing
game
at Washington next year.
Yeah, no, it's a league game next year. And the year that the Pac-12 had, and I will argue that they were the best league in college football this year.
They were.
They're better than the SEC. And
yep, they were.
It blows my mind. And when the news came down, I was like, all right, it's going to happen. It's happening. And you guys being in the Midwest, this is your league, right? This is the league you grew up in. How do you feel about SC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington coming into your league?
Okay, so I'm old school.
Yes.
And by old school, I mean that when I was at Purdue, it was 10. It was actually 10. I was out of the school 10 years before Penn State joined it. And I'm still, kind of get off my lawn with Penn State. But, so, yeah, I love those schools. I do. I think the world of all 6 of those schools that are coming in from the Pac-12. But it just doesn't feel
right.
Like a fit.
Yeah.
It's culturally, it's just not a fit.
I agree.
And it's for all of the other sports, it's a disaster. Football,
we'll see.
They only play once a week. They can manage it. But, geez, for every other sport, it's a kludge. I'm not a fan of it. I'm really irritated that we don't have a Pac-12 anymore. We have a Pac-2, and I hope that they can put something together. But it's really just, people complain about the transfer portal and the opt-outs and stuff ruining bowl games. This ruined much more than any of that stuff, and that stuff can't be fixed anyway.
Well, Jerry, we get the national championship game Monday night. I'm really excited to see Michael Penix in this offense versus Michigan defense. What do you think is going to be the biggest key in the game?
Yeah, I think even more narrowed down that matchup is the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line of Washington against the front 7 of Michigan. To me, that's where the game's going to be won or lost. The other side of the ball, Michigan's offense is pretty good. Washington's defense is probably better than people give it credit for because there's so much flash on the offensive side. But I think that Washington's ability to manage, to block and protect Penix and open holes in the running game and give their offense a chance to do what they do so well is going to be the key to this game because Washington is going to have to score. They're going to have to get to 30. This is not a game that's going to be played like the Alabama game. It's not going to be 27-20. It's probably going to be in the 30s. At least the winner is going to be in the 30s. So Washington's going to have to find a way to protect that quarterback and get the running game going. And if the offensive line can do that, I like Washington's chances. And if the game is close at the end, I like Washington's chances.
How can you not?
That's what they do.
Yeah, how can you not? All right. Best moment of bowl season? Was it the Pop-Tart?
The best moment of bowl season.
The Pop-Tart was terrific.
Yeah, I'm going to go Pop-Tart.
All kudos to them for that. Just beautiful.
If we're gonna do off-field stuff for sure, the on-field thing is probably Michigan stopping Alabama, but the
non-New Year's Six bowl
off-field thing, the Pop-Tart was epic.
Yeah, it was epic. A lot's been talked about. Maybe we get into this next week, and you know where I am on bowl season. I'm not a proponent of it just because I'm in it, but I see the value of it on a regular basis. Moving forward, there's a lot of talk portal. What do you do with the portal? What do you do with players? What do you see happening?
I just wrote about this yesterday.
Yeah,
in my bowl wrap up at the beginning. This is not a fixable problem. Okay, you're going to have transfers. You're going to have opt-outs. This is not a fixable problem because the transfer portal has to be in December, so the kids that want to transfer and be eligible for entered into school in January, they have to have that time to do it. And kids are going to opt out for the NFL, regardless of what you can't pay them enough money to make them think more of their future earnings than their current earnings. It's just not. These are not fixable problems. The Bulls are just going to have to accept the fact that this is our way of life now, and make the most of it because, the players have more control of their own fate now, and they're thinking ahead. And bowl games are not part of thinking ahead for some of these players.
Jerry, appreciate it. Read him every day over on CBSSports.com. You can follow him on the X. It's at JP Palm CBS. When we talk with you next Thursday, we will have a national champion. Maybe put a little focus towards you got a really good basketball team there.
I've noticed they do seem to be somewhat competent.
Yeah,
I'm pleased.
They're really, really good.
I have a bracket coming out tomorrow.
Beautiful. I know people around here will be watching with bated breath because the Mountain West Conference is actually going to have I think, terrific season, especially at the top. We'll talk about that starting next week. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the national championship game. We'll catch you next week.
All right, thanks.
Be well. He is Jerry Palm from CBS Sports. It's interesting in his thoughts on the bowl games, and I want to wrap you up when we come back on bowl records by league and how everybody did. We'll do that and get back to your correspondence at 505-246-0610. Winter hits, I guess, any second now, right? Is it snowed yet? Aren't they telling me it's going to snow a bunch? Not yet? Nothing? All right, let's ride. Take care of your car. How you riding in your car? Let's ride in your car. Make sure you don't have the mud and the dirt and the road salt all stuck to it. Call my friends at On the Spot Automotive Detailing. They've got solutions for that. They will take care of you. They will do it at your convenience when it's convenient for you. Automotive detailing, it'll help your car this winter and this summer and this spring. It's one of your biggest investments. Take care of your vehicle. Remember the day you took it off the lot? How fun it was to be in your car, how nice it was to get in when it was clean, it smelled nice, and then it's just had life, right? You can get that back with On the Spot Automotive Detailing. They'll come to you at your office, at your work, at wherever it is, and they will detail your vehicle. Awarded Best of the City in 2023 because they're reliable, they're efficient, they're the best when it comes to what they do. Look at all they do online. Go to otsdetailing.com. otsdetailing.com. You can book there, you can buy there. On the Spot Automotive Detailing. Take care of your vehicle.
This report is sponsored.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up
beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff. One scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough. Back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Like and show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet? Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros.
Big 12 were the best. Pac-12 was 5-3. Big 12 5-3. SEC went 5-4. Big 10 went 5-4. The ACC 6-6. Conference USA 2-2. The American and the Mountain West 3-4. Sun Belt 5-7. Sun Belt had 12 freaking teams, and the MAC went 2-4. Usually, you got somebody that's like 5-1, right? So, Pac-12, Big 12. So I guess whoever wins the conference, the national championship, wins the bowl season award. Pac-12 should win them all going away. Do you think? Because the final season, just give them all to them. Yeah,
it's. When you said it, I was like, oh, yeah, the fact that the national championship game is a conference game next year. It's wild.
You hadn't thought about
Washington and Michigan.
You hadn't thought about that before?
Like, oh, yes, it is.
It's a league game next year. They're going to play this game up in Seattle next year. And
could be the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, game day will be there, and they'll play it up there. It'll be in October. It'll be raining, and it'll be a big deal. It's just, the reality of this hitting. I mean, there's things that happen, and you say, okay, in a couple of years it's going to happen, and then reality hits, right? The reality that there's no more Pac-12 or I mean, I don't know, the Oregon State and Washington State will tell you differently, but there isn't. That Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, they're going to play in the Big 12. They're playing league games against West Virginia. That Washington, Oregon, SC, UCLA are in the Big Ten. There's no Pac-12. They're playing league games against Penn State and Rutgers and Maryland. Like Maryland and Oregon is going to be a league game. Rutgers and UCLA is the league game.
I would not be looking forward to those conference road trips.
Indiana, Washington, Does that do something for you?
When you know you're going to have to be on the road for a while to play a couple of games
For
in your conference schedule.
non-football.
Yeah.
For non-football. Yeah, for football, you get on a plane, you end up somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got to go knock out this Rutgers game, and then maybe we'll play Penn State, and then we'll come back. And
Yeah,
like,
you're the radio play-by-play for Indiana women's basketball. You're on the road for a week, right? A week and a half, whatever it is. Yeah.
And yet we're worried about getting players eligible for a spring semester because of the transfer portal.
That's what Jerry was telling you. And I don't think he's wrong.
Yeah, and this system, it's not coming back, but so many people in it have the answer, and they can never get people to agree with it. Like what Chip Kelly was talking about at the end of the season, he's not alone. I've heard that from so many coaches, not just football coaches, but Olympic sports coaches, like split this up.
Separate football from everything else.
But people won't do that because it's not fair, and they're making more money than us, and this and that. It's never going to be fair.
Well, it would be a disparity, right? It would be if you kept the Pac-12 together and everything but football. And so SC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington are making $80 million a year in their TV rights deal. Arizona State, Colorado are making 30. And so you're coming back and doing you're saying we're all playing on the same playing field. You're not. And if they want your coach and you're paying them $4 and they can pay him $6 because, well, they can.
We do that anyway.
We're doing that anyway, but not within
But we just
leagues.
pretend it's okay.
We're not doing it within
because
the
you
league.
do. Yeah, but the leagues are supposed to compete against other leagues, and we don't care about that.
I know we don't.
Mountain West is supposed to be competing with these other leagues,
But
and we
they're
hold
not.
them to the same expectations.
Somewhat.
Especially on the basketball side.
Yeah, somewhat. I don't know how we're going to go back on this, and I don't know that we ever will. You know, Jerry said we'll see what it does for the non-football sports. I'm not convinced this is good for football. Are you guys convinced? And there are people who just don't like the group of 5 and just give me my 60 teams, and it's all I need is Michigan and Ohio State every year, and Alabama. And are you convinced Indiana playing UCLA in a league game in football, and Rutgers playing Oregon, and Minnesota versus Washington, those are all good for you in football? Never mind everything else. You're convinced that that's best for football?
It'll still be a good football game.
It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Any more than I care to watch Rutgers play Indiana. I mean, what do I care that UCLA is playing Indiana? Purdue's playing Washington. And when we come back, Michigan's quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, on the sign stealing stuff at Michigan, blaming it on the rival. It's always the rival's fault. You've heard that plenty of times. It's always about the rival. How can this be, and can it be true? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The sports animal, your home for Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football, and the Super Bowl.
All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Cross-Camara here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Like and show that you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast.
So bad, don't you? You just want it to be Friday? I mean, tomorrow we'll be doing it 24 hours from right now. So this is a tease. This is what we do. It's like a linear tease. So tomorrow in this time slot at 9 o'clock, we are going to kick it with Kenny Thomas. We're going to talk about the Lobo game from Tuesday night. We'll talk about the Lobo game coming up on Saturday night. We'll talk about the NBA. We'll talk about the Thunder beating the Celtics. We'll talk about the Lakers skid. All those things. We'll talk with Kenny Thomas tomorrow at 9 o'clock, if you're okay with that. I see what you're doing there, though. That was a nice linear tease. The boss will like that a lot.
I'm sure he will. He was the one that set that up.
See? It's always somebody, right? It's got, I agree with you. I agree with you. So like when you're stealing signs in your Michigan, it's not necessarily your fault. We just need to make an even playing field. You blame it on the rivals. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck, DC. Let's ride. Oh, by the way, I just got a text from Ryan. He says checking in from Houston, where he's got the national. So just so you know, he and the national championship trophy have arrived in Houston. We should get a picture on Monday of the national championship trophy listening to the opening drive.
Oh, nice. I love that.
Yeah. He's the guy that takes it around. He says, you're going after Russ today with the Let's Ride every segment? Will you explain that to him, please?
He's going after me every segment.
I'm not going after
No, I'm giving you.
I mean,
it's hilarious, though. You've got me cracking up back here every single time you do that.
You started today, didn't you?
I think I started this like 6 months ago.
All right, well, let's ride. Michigan's quarterback, J.J. McCarthy.
Don't do promos. Moral of the story.
What do you mean? Oh, with Russ?
Yeah.
Well, you can do promos, just, I mean, understand what you're doing.
Leave it there.
Fair
Don't
enough.
bring it to the press conference.
All right, fair enough. All right, you got a sign stealing thing. Jim Harbaugh missed 3 games for the sign stealing. The other thing, so he coached 6 out of the 12 games this year, but now he's in the national championship.
Who's got it better than them?
Nobody. So his quarterback is J.J. McCarthy, fanned the flames a bit with the sign stealing scandal and his rivalry with Ohio State. Yesterday, McCarthy, the quarterback, suggested that the Wolverines were just trying to keep pace with Ohio State by engaging in this scheme that was ultimately deemed to violate the Big Ten's sportsmanship policy. So this came about. It was an explanation into messages given to the team by Jim Harbaugh. McCarthy called it unfortunate, the sign stealing scandal. And he said that about 80% of the teams in college football do this. Quote, this is quarterback of Michigan now. It's just a thing about football. It's been around for years. We actually had to adapt because in 2020 or 2019, when Ohio State was stealing our signs, which is legal, and they were doing it, we had to get up to the level they were at, and we had to make it an even playing field. End quote. So the sign stealing scandal has been, I don't know, fascinating, infuriating, whatever you want to call it. Absurd. But he continued. I just feel like it sucks. We do work our butts off. We do watch so much film and look for those little tendencies and spend like 10, 15 minutes on one clip alone just looking at all the little details of the posture of the linebackers, the DNs, the safeties, off levels, the corner to the field is pressed, but the corner to the boundary is off. Little stuff like that, where it's like you could say it's all sign stealing, but there's a lot more that goes into play and a lot of stuff that gets masked. A lot of work gets masked because of all the outside perception of what sign stealing is all about, end quote. So everyone does it. We were just doing what they do and nothing to see here, but we're the only ones who got popped, and we're the only ones who were deemed to have taken it to a level that we sent some guy onto the other guy's sideline dressed up as one of them. And but everybody does that too. Look at everybody else's sideline, and that's that dude from the collective at our rivalry and our rival, and he's on Bowling Green's sideline too. Come on. Yeah, I mean, you got popped. You took it to a level that was excessive, and you got popped.
Yeah, this is one where if I was the coach, sports information director, I'm saying you do not answer any questions about this. None. Just
does this help him?
Spin it.
Did this help Michigan?
It's gonna fires up the message boards, the rivalry between Ohio State and Michigan.
Doesn't
hurt anything, but this is one where it's like, this one, let's just not touch on it this week. You want to do your podcast after the fact, we're getting ready for the NFL draft and start talking about these stories, go for it.
Rudy, I know you got thoughts on this. Hello, Rudy.
I do, and it's common knowledge for 8 years, Ohio State paid the other teams in the Big Ten to give them Michigan's signals. So it's just a bunch of tempest in a teapot, and the big problem is Ohio State. And I have very little respect for that school and how they conduct their business. And this has gone on for years between Ohio State and Michigan. So it's a tempest in a teapot. Rocky stole San Diego State signals one year. Did you know that?
Stole them meaning, I mean, they never changed them, so they were easy that you already knew them?
So I asked Rocky what was going on because, I mean, they couldn't do anything. And he said, well, I found out Tom Kraft was the coach. He said, I figured out about 5 minutes into the game that every time he signaled in a play above his waist, it was a pass. Every time he signaled below his waist, it was a run.
Yeah, but that's easy. And that's like...
Well, that's stealing signals.
It is, and I think that's something that's accepted. That's not video. That's not dressing a dude up in the other guys.
There's no connection. They have made no connection between what Connor Stallions was up to and whether Michigan used any of that information. And that's been denied consistently by Jim Harbaugh. It's a lot of jealousy, and it's a lot of jealousy by Ohio State fans who are used to winning the Big Ten every year and going to the college football playoff. And so as far as I'm concerned, my focus is on Washington. And, Penix has played Michigan before.
Yes, when he was that, right? When he was at
Indiana. Yeah. There's one more piece of information. Michael Hart was the running backs coach at Indiana when Penix was there. So he attended every practice. He knows Penix probably better than anybody. And I think the difference in the game is exactly what's going to happen. I don't think that Washington has played a defense like Michigan's. They've given up 7 touchdown passes the whole season. So let's see if Penix can throw 2.
I'll give you that. I think that's right. I think it's the best defense I've played. Is this the best offense that Michigan's played? Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Probably. I think the thing about Penix is he's not Milroe. He's not a physical specimen, so you've got to keep him in the pocket, and you've got to get a rush up the middle. And if they perform the way they did against Alabama, I think Alabama's offensive line is, they might not get the Joe Moore Award this year, but that was a quality offensive line.
That's good.
They had a little problem at center, and now he's left the team. But,
Did he already leave?
Those are things that happen in games.
Did the center already leave? Did Nick Saban throw him off the team? I mean, he didn't go into the portal?
He entered the transfer portal.
That's what I meant to say.
I mean, the transfer portal works 2 ways.
That's right. You could be
asked
encouraged
to enter the transfer portal,
That's
or
right.
you can do it on your own.
That's right. Maybe you should enter the portal. Yeah.
But I really do believe that they need to do something about the portal and not allow mid-year transfers. This has gotten out of control. And when you gut a team like Florida State got gutted, it's a bad look for college football. It's just a bad look.
Sure.
And Jeff, as much effort and time that we spend on our bowl game, I'm glad that there weren't a lot of opt-outs and it was a quality
There
game.
were some. There were some, and I think some of it contributed to. Look, we didn't have the most competitive game. We've had a lot of competitive games, and I know the rankings came out. Somebody just said, "Hell, they weren't kind of your game, Jeff. You were 30-something out of it." Right. We didn't have a great game, competitive wise this year, and that's why the TV number was down a bit. And some years we hit great games. It goes down to the last 8 seconds in a 2-point conversion, or it goes overtime. And some years you have a 37-10 game. I mean,
well, it wasn't for lack of effort, Jeff.
No,
that's the thing.
You control what you control.
It's never for lack of effort.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Later.
Take care.
Yeah. No, I got it. Jack just sent me the rank in the games, and I get it, man. I mean, what was it? The Orange Bowl, 63-3. It was ranked last. Does that make them a crappy bowl? I don't even know what a crappy bowl means. I mean, I got all your emails. All you guys are piling on. And you got glee that for some reason the Isleta New Mexico Bowl was ranked low, as far as the best game. It wasn't the best game this year. It wasn't. Some years we have great games, some years we don't. The Orange Bowl was ranked dead last. Does that make them? I mean, I don't know. Is that a pretty good game usually? The Orange Bowl's got pretty good prestige.
It's a pretty good game.
Just saying.
I've heard about it before.
Yeah. Look, some years you control. That's what we do. We control. We can control everything. And some years it's better than others. The game was not as competitive this year. It's a football game, man. Some games are really good, and some games come out of nowhere. Well, you know what was one of the best games to watch? That famous Toastery game that nobody saw, or maybe you didn't see. The Western Kentucky comeback. That was really good. But, all right, you want to do Red Zone when we come back? NFL Red Zone, DC's got that ready. All I know is I look at it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, buddy. Let's ride. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Your home for Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football, and the Super Bowl.
Say my name.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burkia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet? Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Well, women's basketball right here on the Sports Animal against Nevada. You got there and you got to the carousel and you're waiting 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 and your equipment didn't come up.
Never came out.
So JJ had to call that game last whatever day it was. What was it?
Saturday.
Without his equipment. Like he screamed and you guys heard. No, man, how'd you do that? First of all, you like that's got to be a panic moment.
Yes. Anytime you lose luggage, you know, it's a terrible feeling. But then when the equipment doesn't come out for your specific job
while you're there,
that you're there for, you're like, well, got left in Las Vegas.
So the tag fell off?
Yes.
Did you self-tag it?
Fell off.
Did you self-tag it? Like,
yeah,
it's sticky.
Prints
it's
out,
super
sticky,
stuff.
rip it off,
Yeah.
put it together, go.
Here's
it wasn't
my
on.
stuff. And it happens all the time. You've done this, I mean, for 5 seasons, however many you've been doing this. So he had his headset, he clean feeded, which is a kind of a term.
It's our emergency backup.
Yeah, when JJ, like that's how, JJ does the show from hotels or on the road, or how I do it on the road. We have a backup. Did you always travel with your headset, your clean feed?
Yes.
That's a good move.
Now, the winning move is sometimes that's in the equipment case, but this was in my backpack.
That would have been a bummer.
Which is always backpack now.
Yeah, I guess you don't put your backup where your primary is, because if you lose one, you lose them all.
You don't want to buy a headset at the airport. That's for sure.
No. You're paying a little extra on that, and it might not be the same. Yeah. How about that, though? Did you know that?
No, I didn't. That's wild.
Yeah, that's a bad feeling, man. You get off there and it's like, okay, now
Thing just stops.
Like, where's all my crap? And then the bus is waiting for you, and you got to go to the luggage office guy.
Oh, they left.
They left you?
I was like, yeah, I might be a while. You guys can go to the hotel.
All right, we got week 18. It is the final week of the regular season in the National Football League, and our guy DC has put together this red zone.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Are you crazy? I'm saying you're a football player.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to Tom Brady this game.
You're in the red zone with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bach.
Let's go, baby!
It's first and goal.
All right, boys, let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
All right, we've heard a ton
Let's
about
ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
I love that he took 5 takes on that.
5?
Was it more?
I mean, it had to be.
Yeah, it probably was. Probably 500. So we've heard a ton about Russell Wilson and the Broncos this week, but we don't really know what's going on in Dove Valley. We heard Wilson say earlier that he expected to get cut in the offseason. However, a report came out yesterday that basically said the exact opposite, that the cap hit from cutting Wilson would be just too great. It's almost a third of the entire salary cap for 24. So what do you guys expect to happen next? Russell Wilson's starting for the Broncos week 1 next year. Is he QB2? Does he get cut or traded? What do you expect to happen?
He's gone. I don't know how you repair this. I mean, your coach doesn't like him. He obviously doesn't like your coach. He's sensitive. Your fan base doesn't like him. Oh, by the way, he hasn't been successful. He hasn't won. He's been given chances. He's 25th ranked quarterback in the NFL. They're going to eat the money, and he's going to be a quarterback, probably QB2, maybe competing for QB1 somewhere like Atlanta. But I see no way that he comes back. I think they got to eat the money.
It's between that and him being QB2, just based on the financial ramifications of getting rid of Russell Wilson, dealing with that contract. But it just feels like there's so much that they couldn't overcome. It's one thing, all right, end of the season, you bench Russell Wilson, you move on. But we haven't been in this situation. We've seen one of these guys with a quarterback of this caliber where it's just kicking in next year. That gigantic extension, all the money that he's owed is just kicking in. So I think the Broncos are probably going to have to eat an awkward situation for a while with Russell Wilson being around that building as the QB2 because he hasn't been good. They don't like him. And he's not the starting quarterback for that team next year.
Nobody wants to be together, man. Split up and go be happy.
2nd and goal.
Ready, down, put.
All right, it's time to make some decisions in Chicago. The Bears have the first overall pick locked in for the 2024 draft. They also have a young quarterback in Justin Fields that, as we know, started very slow this year, but he did turn things around midway through the season. So, as the reports are saying right now, head coach Matt Eberflus is probably safe for next year. So the question is, what will he and GM Ryan Poles do next? Are they going to trade the number 1 overall pick? Do they trade Fields? Are they keeping Fields and the pick, or something else totally?
I think they're going to trade Justin Fields. The problem is, if people, how badly do people want that pick? And I think because there is the guy who they trade Fields, but what do they get for it? Right? Knowing that Caleb Williams is at the top, what are they going to get back? What makes it worth your while? Right? I think they're going to start over. I think first and foremost, I think they evaluate Caleb Williams higher than they evaluate Justin Fields. I think that so. First and foremost, who's the better player? Who do I want as my quarterback? Never mind the salary stuff. First and foremost, top line, number 1 pro. Who's the better player? I think they will evaluate Caleb Williams better than Justin Fields. So what? Now let's trade him. Can they get a 1? Can they get a couple of 2s? Can they get a 2 and a player, an impact player? Like the way they crafted the deal to get this, when they got DJ Moore, when they got the number 1 pick last year, we almost talked about DJ Moore as a throw-in, and I remember saying, dude, they got a good quality 1 receiver. Can they craft a deal where they get even a low 1, right? Atlanta, hell, would you want him? If you're right now, you're Denver. Do you want Justin Fields? Would you give up your number 1 pick right now for Justin Fields? And I think that's what they're looking at. I think they give up Justin Fields. They get a good draft pick and a player, and they draft a new quarterback.
I do agree with that. I think for the Chicago Bears, the situation is it's both. It's evaluating Caleb Williams as if they believe he is the top quarterback in this class, and then also the extended window that you get, because this team that just paid Montez Sweat a lot of money in an offseason trade, that Justin Fields would be going into year 4, so you're on the verge of, you could still pick up his option, but there's a lot of money invested in the quarterback versus kind of restarting that window for 3 to 4 years with Caleb Williams and then investing in that rest of the roster, because how they're finishing the season, there's a lot more positives than anyone anticipated with the Chicago Bears. So if you convince yourself that Caleb Williams is a good quarterback, you continue to invest around him. That is something we have seen work multiple times, of a young quarterback with a good roster being very good. And there's still going to be plenty of interest in Justin Fields around the NFL.
3rd and goal.
All right, maybe it's just me, but it feels like people have been sleeping on Lamar Jackson basically since he entered the league. The narrative on Jackson has been that he slid in the draft, he can't win the playoffs, and we saw in the offseason basically every team passed on him as a free agent. So what will we be saying about Lamar Jackson if he wins his 2nd MVP award and a Super Bowl this year?
He's on path to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. The only reason people sleep on Lamar Jackson is because they can't evolve their thought process of athletic quarterbacks. This dude's gotten better at throwing the football every single year. He wasn't terrible at it, but it's a progression. Yeah, it was maybe if Reed wasn't there, he ran early in his career. But watch this man play football. He is the most dangerous guy right now, inside and outside the pocket. And then he's making plays down for field first. That's the evolution. But it goes back to a lazy narrative on Lamar Jackson, who's just a runner coming out. Oh, and we had it. Was it Polian, Colts guy, the ridiculous take of he needs to be a wide receiver. He needs to transition. It's old heads that haven't evolved that don't understand just how good Lamar Jackson is at quarterback.
So we'll be calling him the second best quarterback in the NFL. Mahomes will still have the title of being the best because he's won, because he's Mahomes. He's a magician. He's got more commercials. We'll be calling him the second best quarterback in the NFL. We'll be calling him a Hall of Famer. We'll be calling him a two-time MVP. We'll be calling him one of the faces of the league. We'll be calling him what he should be called, a great quarterback. I'm not ready to say one of the best ever yet, but we'll say he'll pass Joe Burrow. He'll pass Josh Allen as that second best guy in the National Football League in most narratives.
4th and goal.
Did I stutter? Beer me.
All right. Well, we talked about Joe Flacco earlier, so let's get back on it. So Joe Flacco bet on himself in 2012 when he led the Baltimore Ravens to a Super Bowl victory on an expiring contract. This year, Joe went from the couch to the playoffs in the most unexpected way as Browns QB4. So let me ask you guys this. If the Browns make a run and win the Super Bowl this year, is Joe Flacco a Hall of Famer?
This is the most insane conversation because the obvious answer is, what are we talking about? Right? And then the answer is there's only one quarterback in the history of the NFL who's won 2 Super Bowls and isn't in the Hall of Fame, and that's Jim Plunkett, and he should be. Okay? And so what makes a Hall of Fame? Is it winning championships? Dan Marino is a Hall of Famer. He never won a championship, right? We're talking about Phillip Rivers. He never won a championship. If this guy wins 2 Super Bowls and presumably quarterback always wins MVP, right? So presumably 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Does the story of him coming off the couch, languishing, and let me throw this other piece into you, taking a team that we have called the worst franchise in the NFL for a long time and getting them to their first ever with a guy who was guaranteed $250 million sitting on the bench. Is that a Hall of Fame story? I'm going to tell you, I don't think he should be, but I think he will eventually. If they win the Super Bowl this year with this story, not first ballot, but 12, 13 years from now, when he's expiring on the ballot, he would get voted in.
It will be a process for Joe Flacco because immediately the dude I wanted to compare him to was Eli Manning.
Sure, but Eli had way better numbers in his regular season career. But didn't he? Okay, that's my perception. Now maybe I'm wrong.
He did.
Okay.
But winning percentage way better is Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Joe Flacco never played on those horrible teams with the Ravens, right? Like Eli had some bad teams with the Giants.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so I don't think Joe Flacco is a surefire Hall of Famer. I think it will be a process because right now he's top 20 in an NFL career passing yard. Joe Flacco's 19.
How many guys on that top 20 list are not in the Hall of Fame? Like, I mean, are there a few? Probably not many.
They're guys that are going to be. Like when you look at Drew Brees, Roethlisberger.
Yep.
And then you get the debates, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. Those are top 10 passers in the NFL right now.
All right. So do you think he would be? This conversation is fascinating to me. Do you think he will be a Hall of Famer if he wins the Super Bowl this year?
Eventually, yes. He'll be. The answer is yes.
Okay. Hall of Famer, yay or nay, Matt Ryan, Joe Flacco. Matt Ryan would have gone once, never won. I don't think we have an argument that in your perception, who's a better quarterback? Oh, Matt Ryan was. Dude wins 2 Super Bowls. Takes the Cleveland Browns, who were pathetic, was QB4 sitting on the couch, 12 years after he won his first one. 3 teams later?
Sounds like a Hall of Famer to me.
But won his first one, got paid. He was the highest paid player in the history of the game at that point. I mean, if I told you that without giving you his name, you go, oh, yeah, 2-time Super Bowl champ, won Super Bowls 12 years apart with 2 different franchises. Well, he was on the couch, started the year, he was QB4. Oh, but it's Joe Flacco. I think it's a Hall of Famer. I don't think it's a first ballot guy. I don't think it's a no-brainer. And I know some of you say if it's not a no-brainer, then it's not a Hall of Famer, right? If it's not a no-brainer, then he's not a Hall of Famer. I understand that concept. But it's not reality. That concept's just not reality. Kind of crazy, huh? All right, 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. Get in on that. I want to continue that conversation on Flacco. I got some comments on Justin Fields. I got a Bear fan responded to me. I got a response to Rudy's assertion that Michigan's defense is going to be able to shut down the Washington offense. Our guy Ryan did a little bit of research for us, and I got numbers for you as well. Speaking of numbers, the numbers are growing. International Protective Service has hundreds of homeowners who trust them to install alarms and cameras and keep their eyes on those homes and businesses and to respond quickly if the alarm goes off. They respond with armed, trained security officers. The reality is police aren't coming for hours if they come at all. In most cases, IPS is there within 7 minutes or less. You're traveling. Who's watching your home? There's almost nothing worse than coming home and finding out you've been the victim of a break-in. I mean, maybe it's worse to get to the carousel and realize your radio equipment isn't there, but I would argue that this is worse. Have you noticed IPS officers everywhere? Target, Walmart, wherever you go? IPS is making a major difference for those retailers. They can help you too. They've helped me for years. IPS watches my home. Officer Crespin comes by every single day. IPS has a team watching video cameras and monitoring alarms around the clock to secure your home and your business. Cameras are known to discourage criminal activity. Look, your home's supposed to be a place of security, and if someone breaks in, it's devastating, and it destroys that sense of security. Homes that are protected are far less likely to be homes targeted by the bad guys. Call IPS. Talk to them, see what they can do for you. The number is 505-897-2420. 505-897-2420. You can go online at ipsglobal.com. IPS, passionate about making Albuquerque a better and safer place to live and work.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Santa Paws has left thousands of holiday gifts for your furry, scaly, and winged family members. Pick up a gift for a pet lover or even a new pet. Clark's has shelves full of pet beds, sweaters, toys and treats, habitats and tanks galore. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's is celebrating 50 years. Thanks to you, the Christmas Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls.
Red zone. We're talking about Justin Fields. Jim is a Bears fan. He says they're keeping Fields. And I said, I'm not nearly as convinced as you are. He says, just the word around Chicago is they're keeping him. He says, I'm ambivalent. They'll find a way to bleep up either situation. And that's what Bears fan is thinking. My feeling is on Justin Fields is you've had, 3 years? 4 years. All right. Are you convinced? If you're not convinced, then you're convinced. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. After 3 years, if you're not convinced, and if you, and I'm going to, this is all based on every evaluation I've heard on Caleb Williams. Okay, Caleb Williams is a USC quarterback. Every evaluation is he's different, he's special, he's being evaluated in the way of Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence, right? As almost a can't miss guy. So if this guy is available and you've got the number 1 pick, oh, by the way, and you have number 5 or wherever you're going to land, 7, wherever it is going to be, you get to reset the clock. But more importantly to me is who is better. If I evaluate the guy coming out of the draft as being better, if not now, being better in a year from now upon development, then I take this guy and I've got this asset in Justin Fields. I call the Broncos. Like, hey, you got pick number 16. I got your franchise quarterback. Give me 16 and, I don't know, give me an edge rusher. Give me a left tackle. Give me a guard. Give me a cornerback. What do I want? If you're Denver, what are you saying to that?
I'm entertaining the conversation.
Aren't you?
Absolutely.
I'm calling Atlanta. And I'm saying, I got this. Who's my running back in Chicago? Who's my best running back? Khalil Herbert? I don't know if Tyler Algier does anything for me, but Drake London does a lot for me. Or, I mean, I give me a piece and if they say, I'm going to give you the first, though, all of a sudden now I got 17-5 or 17-6 or whatever it is. And 1, by the way, and number 1.
It's a good way to rebuild.
I look at the field situation that way. And first and foremost, who do I think is the better player? And if the evaluation on Caleb Williams, and again, I haven't dove into the tape and done all the reads and like these guys do. And so I'm not, but listen to the guys who do that.
Well, it could be one where it could get down to it and you'd be like, these guys are actually even, but the better value moving forward for the Chicago Bears
if you're there
is getting an asset for Justin Fields, acquiring Caleb Williams with the number 1 overall pick in the draft, changing your window, and then you have more options because of your Justin Fields trade as opposed to just sitting with Fields and then taking like the best wide receiver or whatever player you value.
Because if you sit with Fields, you're in a pay me year next year, right? You're going into 4. You got 1 year left on the rookie deal. Now,
you can pick up year 5, but
you're in a pay me year. If you don't know after 3, then you don't know. The Giants did it with Daniel Jones.
I think they know.
Yeah.
If they did not have the number 1 overall pick, there would be zero discussion of trading Justin Fields.
I agree with that. But they do have the number 1 overall pick, and there's a guy sitting there who supposedly is one of those guys. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, we might be having a conversation if it came down to one of the other 4. But we're talking about one guy who supposedly is head and shoulders above the rest of the class. And by the way, I mean, we're talking about, every year we talk about how great the first quarterback is. And Bryce Young was first last year, and we're now going, whoa, what were we even seeing? Right?
And that's why, you've heard me, I'm not on the tank for whatever guy train. It's hard to win in that league. You thought you had that dude in Trevor Lawrence, and what are the Jaguars doing? They're hanging on for dear life.
Yeah.
Trying to win a division. So it's never
fair. And Andrew Luck was
as sure as that.
Now,
sure. This is just an entirely different situation for Chicago. Because to me, it's a no-brainer that the way they played, they're coming back. Yeah, Justin Fields is your starting quarterback. But the deal you made got you the number 1 overall pick this year, so it changes the conversation. You can like Justin Fields. You can believe, hey, this guy's a good NFL quarterback. He's going to get even better. But the future of your franchise, there's more options and opportunities by selecting Caleb Williams and trading Justin Fields than something else.
Yeah, Ray, you went in on Justin Fields. Good morning, Ray.
How you guys doing?
Good. What's happening?
Hey, I'm a Raider fan, and I think Josh Jacobs got that little quad injury, and he's not playing. And I think it's going to be a big thing if he doesn't play this last weekend. I think he's still upset with the franchise for what happened in last offseason. What about the Raiders trading just Jacobs to Chicago for Justin Fields?
I think you'd take that in a heartbeat, right? If you said you wouldn't trade Jacobs for Justin Fields.
Well, if I'm the Raiders, absolutely, but I wouldn't take that deal if I'm the Bears.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take a draft pick in there too.
Especially now they got White. White proved himself, and White's a good running back. Even though it's been a few games, but I still think that might work out.
Yeah, I just don't think the Bears would say, "You have to give me Jacobs for Fields. I'm not giving you Fields for Jacobs. I get a better deal somewhere else."
Oh, and a second round, and maybe like you said,
and a second round pick. Yeah, I think they could get a first and a player somewhere else. But I mean, I like where you're thinking. I'd call them and try. Ray, thanks for the call. I'd call it and try. I mean, I'm sure their phone's ringing off the hook. All right, this is based on Rudy's call. So Rudy called earlier, and he's in Michigan. That's where he went to law school. He said Michigan's defense is the best defense that Washington will have seen all year, and he's probably right. In fact, I don't even think he's probably right. He's right. He said that they've only given up 7 passing touchdowns all season, and he thinks that's going to be the difference. So Ryan sent me this, and he did a little research for us. Put Ryan on the payroll. He said it got me thinking. He says, is Michigan's defense that outstanding, or have they just played some terrible scoring teams? Note, I think their front 7 are very good, but they played some atrocious teams to suggest they just completely overmatched Washington. Michigan's opponents ranked nationally in scoring offense started out like this. East Carolina, 124. They played UNLV, who was ranked 22nd in total offense. By the way, didn't Justin Maeva, the quarterback, get in the portal the other day? Young quarterback from UNLV, freshman of the year. They played Bowling Green, 71, Rutgers, 94, Nebraska, 120, Minnesota, 108. These are their ranks in offense, in scoring offense. Indiana, 103, Michigan State, 128, Purdue, 85. They played Penn State, who only scored 15 points. Maryland was 51. They only scored 24. Ohio State was ranked 44th. They scored 24. Iowa, 129, didn't score. And Alabama, who's ranked 23rd in offense, scored 20. So they played 4 good offenses in the top 51. Penn State, Maryland, Ohio State, and Bama. And they gave up 15, 24, 24, and 20. Washington is ranked 10th in scoring offense. So is it they're that good, or is it who they played? I think it's a combination of both.
It is.
And I appreciate Ryan doing that research for us. Put him on the payroll. You remind me a little of him, actually. You do, which is a good thing. I really like him. He's good people. And
it's those Kenner boys. We do it right.
Kenner, Louisiana boys, huh?
That's right.
That's right. That's right. That's right. He grew up in the business. I think it's interesting. Richard says JJ's organization equals a bowl team. There's no way the Pumpkins can bring back Russell Wilson, right? No way. They take the $85 million cap hit in 2024, meaning like many bowl teams, they'll be playing with walk-ons so they can start fresh in 2025. You can't drag this out for 2 seasons with $35 million next year and $50 the next year, right? I mean, do you want to split the cap hit, or do you want to take it all at once? There's no way he comes back. I mean, I shouldn't say no way. I mean, there was no way Jim Garoppolo was going back to San Francisco, and he did. If everybody gets what they want, he's gone. I mean, he's got to ride.
Let's ride out of town.
Let's ride.
You know, I got to thinking about this a little more yesterday.
Good.
And good, yeah. So we talk about they asked him to take off the injury clause. I'm guessing that his agent said we can discuss that if we can also discuss $60 million a year or $65 a year or something. I mean, it really bothers me how he came out and said that he was threatened. I find that to be so soft.
Well, I'm going to guess there was no just give, this one side giving, right? What's in it for me?
Right.
You're coming to
absolutely.
me and you want me to help out the franchise. Okay, what's in it for me?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's business, right? Now, you can call that selfish. You can call that whatever. But if someone says, hey, I will you do this for me? All right, what's in it for me? Well, you're still getting your $70 million. Okay, I'm getting my $70 million now. So what's in it for me? Right?
It had to be. He had to ask for more money.
You think he asked for more? He has no way. Gosh, there's no way. You think he asked for more?
If they asked him to remove an injury clause, yeah, I do.
I mean, he asked for something, right? What would be fair for him to ask?
I mean, I think $60 million a year.
I know you're all over Russ on this. You think it's all right for the team to go to the guy after and remove an injury clause like this? But like for on the surface, all right, let's stop there. Period. So that you're cool with them just saying, "Hey, it's a dangerous game, and you're out there getting your ass kicked every week, but we want to take away the injury clause guarantee that we negotiated, that you signed. Will you do that for us?"
For an extra $15 million a year, I'd consider it.
All right. So if that was part of it, but you think that's how they went to him? Or you think they just asked him to remove it?
I don't think they just came up and said, you need to remove this or you're benched. I think it's an ongoing negotiation with the agents.
I can't wait to hear it because it's going to come out.
Oh, it totally is.
It's going to come out, and I want to, because I don't know that I think it's that out of line to think that the franchise just went to him and said, "Hey, we're going to remove this or we're going to bench you." I just don't think it's that out of line.
I wouldn't say it's impossible, but like you just said, I can't wait till we hear. It's going to be a very interesting 30 for 30, I'm sure.
My frustration from all this is from a franchise standpoint.
Yeah.
We get it. Russell Wilson didn't work. It's a bad contract, bad trade. But I don't think approaching players in regards to their injury guarantees gets you anywhere. Like if you want to talk about moving some money around and be like, you know what, we got to eat this, so we're going to inflate your signing bonus here, so when we cut you, the cap hit is less. Yeah, all that business stuff. I think anytime you get into it regarding injury guarantees and contracts with NFL players is setting a bad precedent.
I mean, that's fair. With player safety, you're right. If it's only about the injury, that is wrong. I agree with you on that. But here's the thing. Players hold out all the time. All right? So how is this different? I mean, this is teams and players are always negotiating in some way. So I don't know. There's so much more than just an injury clause to this.
But isn't that what we're hyper focused on? Is that date and moving it, and so it doesn't kick in March?
Yeah, that would be the advantage for the organization, right?
Yes.
So, all right, we'll wrap it up when we come back. Everything you got to know as you go through your Thursday. There is no Thursday night football for the first time in a long time. We don't have Thursday night football. Like, what am I supposed? Oh, there's hoops on. What am I supposed to do on Thursday night? 505-246-0610, your correspondence that we haven't got to, and everything you need to know as you go through your day. On the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal, your home for Sunday night and Monday night and Thursday night football. And don't forget the Super Bowl.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Listen, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us, and my wife, and our daughter, they didn't make it.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated,
Rip,
plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Guys we don't always talk about. Does that make sense? JJ, we always talk about like most underrated players of all times, and I don't know if
Deadlift Shrimp.
That's a good one. It's a really good one. DC just came up with. All right, name me when you think of baseball players, and we'll do this during the summer. Best third baseman ever. So who come to mind?
Best third baseman ever.
All right, Mike Schmidt comes to mind. Brooks Robinson comes to mind. Right. Who do you think of best third baseman? Nolan Arenado, common time. Yeah. Right. Guy, GC just brought up a name. I don't even know where it came out of nowhere. We're talking about golf. George Brett. George Brett is like a name that gets lost, and he was so good. Maybe he was the best fielder ever, and maybe that's why. But he was as good a hitter as that generation saw, and that generation saw some great hitters, Boggs and Gwynn and him. And I mean, there were some great hitters, right? Great hitters. Brett gets lost all the time, and evidently can hit the hell out of a golf ball.
Oh, my goodness. It is something to see. If you want to just waste a minute on YouTube, look up George Brett driving golf.
Is that right?
Oh, dude.
And 350 just down the nut every time?
Without trying.
Those are the guys who hit the ball so well, right? The guys who have the most effortless swings, and then there's us out there who are just trying to chop it away and swing so hard. And look at the pro swings. They look like they're not trying.
Yeah, it's something.
Right.
Something to be seen. And it's
George Brett.
Yeah, old George Brett, man. That guy went out and played 100% every single game. It was just something to watch.
But yet, what's he remembered most for, do you think?
The Pine Tar.
No doubt. Right? Just losing his mind at Yankee Stadium in that playoff game with the Pine Tar game. Yeah. All right, what do you want to know is you got to want to go through your day. What are people going to be talking about? They're going to be talking about the Pro Bowl and who made the Pro Bowl and who didn't make the Pro Bowl. And you know, I mean, Tony Romo is going to talk about this, but did Dak make it? And who's the snubs? If there was a snub, maybe it was Josh Allen on the AFC side. I don't know that maybe it was Jared Goff on the NFC side. This came out today, and this is the golf thing is going to get interesting, and people are going to be talking about this more and more. Yesterday, I told you about Rory McIlroy saying maybe he was too hard on the live guys. Today, Phil Mickelson who's kind of the spokesman for LIV, right?
Yeah.
Right. So these were the two guys who were on the other side. Phil Mickelson's urging fans not to pile on Rory over all the LIV stuff. Mickelson said today, it urged fans just to, be easy on him. He said, this quote and many others made today by Rory probably weren't easy to say. Let's not use this as an opportunity to pile on. Rather, it's time for me and others to let go of our hostilities and work towards a positive future, end quote. So remember yesterday I told you it wasn't easy for Rory to kind of get here, and it's an evolution. Hit live. But it was maybe the next step of all right, this is where we are. Let's accept it and let's move forward. And everybody's just talking about the negative, and I think Phil is the next step in hopefully unifying whatever golf looks like as we go into this next season.
There's just so much there for Rory. And I know guys that have probably gone to LIV realizes, well, these aren't bad dudes. Some of them are my friends.
And they're making bank.
Well, then, and also how the PGA Tour pulled the rug out from all of them.
That's right.
In this process. And I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to start working with LIV now and having this conversation. And then if you're Rory McIlroy, you can still maybe not like the style of LIV and things like that. But you're like, why am I, there's no need for me to carry this flag anymore. There's no need for me to be this adamant PGA over everything, because they have shown that they are right there with LIV.
Do you think the Jon Rahm move was the one that kind of changed the tide? Right? I mean, Rahm went over. I don't know if this unifies it, but Mickelson said about the Jon Rahm going to LIV, quote, Rahm's signing is turning into a bridge to both sides, to bring both sides together, as evidenced by the many comments today and a month ago about changing the rules for the Ryder Cup so John and others can play. So let's use it as such. And until agreement is reached, it'll be business as usual for both sides, but hopefully without the needless disdain, end quote. Dude, the needless disdain, and whatever you think of Phil was as prominent in the needless disdain as anybody else, right? So that's what people are going to be talking about. Kareem.
Bank is open.
Thanks to Tony Sanchez for being with us today. New Mexico State's football coach Jerry Palm from CBS Sports was with us today as well. The Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowherd is after that. 2 Men On is here at 4. We're back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio starting at 7 a.m. Adrian looks great on the TV side. Appreciate all the video additives that really, really add to the show. DC, great show today. Go out and well, let's ride. Let's ride? Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Big day for you?
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing, and we will smell you tomorrow.
Precision Dog.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Rosendo Najar here, president of Carpenters Local 1319.
Juan Junior Gonzalez, warden of Local 1319. Some people have a misconception about what a carpenter does.
The carpentry trade entails more than just woodworking or building houses. We are responsible for 85% of a construction job site. Everything from the superintendent on down. We have a great apprenticeship program. Information can be found on our website.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indy Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Bring it back.